We live in a world where everyone is eager to voice their thoughts, opinions, and beliefs, and in a society that craves recognition, silence often feels out of place, even unnatural. Yet, what if I told you that sometimes the greatest power lies precisely in the ability to remain silent? At some point, you've probably felt a burning need to prove yourself, to show the world that you are worthy, intelligent, and capable. Maybe you've jumped into conversations, debates, or even confrontations, thinking that your words are your best weapon. But the truth is, sometimes those words can become a vulnerability. In a world where oversharing has become the norm, there is something undeniably captivating about those who know how to remain silent. They confuse us, spark curiosity, and most importantly, they often hold control over a situation without saying a word. Consider times when you've said something you later regretted, or worse, when your words were misinterpreted, leading to misunderstandings that spiraled out of control. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca understood this risk well. They believed that true wisdom lies in restraint, in carefully considering one's words before they are spoken. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, we cannot control others' actions, but we can control our response, and sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Silence is not weakness, it is a strategy. Used effectively, silence can position you as the one in control. Picture a tense meeting where everyone is clamoring to assert themselves, yet imagine just one person sitting there quietly, calmly observing. This person often appears as the most self-assured and composed, despite not uttering a single word. Why? Because silence draws curiosity. It makes others wonder what you're thinking, what you know, and why you aren't speaking up. It creates an air of mystery, and within that mystery lies power. People are naturally drawn to what they can't fully understand, and silence gives you an advantage by prompting others to second-guess and ponder. In work settings, in relationships, and even in personal conflicts, silence can be far more impactful than any argument or explanation. By not revealing your thoughts or emotions, you maintain control over the narrative. Your silence forces others to confront their own assumptions, often leading them to reveal more about themselves than you could ever expose. Think about the people who have left the greatest impressions on you. Are they the ones who share every detail of their lives? Or are they the ones who leave a bit of mystery, making you curious to know more? Mystery has an irresistible pull. It makes people want to discover and connect. When you remain silent, especially in moments when others expect you to speak, you create an unmissable sense of intrigue. This doesn't mean you're hiding your true self, but rather that you don't feel the need to reveal everything at once. Let others wonder, let them question. By not disclosing every thought, you make them curious, and they respect and pay closer attention to you. In a world where everyone craves to be heard, choosing to communicate less through words and more through action can make you stand out. There's a common misconception that silence equates to submission or passivity. In reality, knowing when to remain silent is one of the most powerful choices you can make. Not every situation requires your input, and not every argument requires a response. Reflect on the words of the philosopher Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Choosing silence means you're choosing not to react impulsively. It means you've decided not to let others see you flustered or defensive. Think of moments when someone has criticized or provoked you. The natural instinct might be to defend yourself, to respond. But what would happen if you chose silence instead? When you stay calm, poised, and say nothing, in many cases, your silence will frustrate others more than any response ever could. It leaves them without fuel for further conflict, forcing them to reflect on their own words, and often their own insecurities. In a way, your silence acts as a mirror, reflecting their behavior back at them without you lifting a finger. There's a well-known saying, talk is cheap. Anyone can declare their intentions, but far fewer follow through. When you put less focus on words and more on actions, your actions speak for themselves. In Stoic philosophy, action is prioritized above all else. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to be indifferent to things unworthy of concern. In other words, what others think or say about you is insignificant. What truly matters is how you live, how you act, and what you achieve. By choosing silence and letting your actions speak, you send a clear message. I don't need to prove myself through words. This mindset not only helps you maintain composure, but also commands a level of respect that speeches alone cannot achieve. Others start to recognize the quiet confidence you carry, the way you move with clear purpose and resolve. They realize you don't need to boast or explain because your actions say everything necessary. Understanding the impact of silence on others is crucial. When people can't read your thoughts, it unsettles them. They begin to second guess, to wonder if they understood correctly, if they made the right move, if they're on the right track with you. In other words, your silence disrupts their thought process, forcing them to question their own actions because you provide no cues. This psychological effect is incredibly powerful, especially in situations of conflict or negotiation. Your silence creates a space for others to reflect on their own behavior, a space for you to maintain calm, and a space for clarity to emerge. In that space, you regain control without uttering a single word. While silence is a powerful tool, balance is essential. There are moments in life when you need to speak, when your voice should be heard. The key lies in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Effective communication isn't about saying everything that comes to mind, but about saying the right thing at the right time. When you master the art of silence, your words carry more weight because people know you only speak when it matters. This balance grants you a unique authority. After a period of silence, when you do finally speak, people listen more closely, more attentively, because they understand that your words are intentional, thoughtful, and significant. Let me take you on a journey, quieter than you might expect, but one where true strength hides in the silence. Picture this. You're in a room full of people, everyone talking, debating, trying to make their point heard, as if each voice is vying for attention. Meanwhile, you sit quietly, simply observing, without saying a word. I found myself in this exact position once. I was in a tense work meeting where everyone was striving to have the last word, to be the smartest, to stand out. The tension was palpable, and honestly, it would have been easy to jump in, to add my voice to the mix, to prove that I was equally valuable. But I didn't. I chose to remain silent. Not because I didn't have thoughts. In fact, I had plenty. But I knew something that not everyone in that room understood. Silence can be stronger than words. As I sat silently observing, I noticed a shift. People began glancing at me, waiting for me to speak. But I withheld that satisfaction. I knew that when I finally did speak, my words would have more impact than any of the noise around me. And then, it happened. Someone turned to me and asked, "What do you think?" I felt the shift in the room. Every eye was on me. The silence I had maintained created a tension, an expectation that whatever I was about to say was important. So, I chose my words carefully. I think we're too focused on who's right instead of finding the best solution. Just one sentence, but it quieted the room, stopped the argument. No one was trying to outdo the other anymore. They were listening, truly listening. This is the power of silence. It draws people's attention. When you're not constantly fighting to be heard, your voice becomes rare, something people actually want to hear. From that day on, I understood the real strength of silence. It's not about shutting others out or avoiding conflict. It's about recognizing that sometimes the best communication is letting silence speak for itself. So the next time you find yourself in a noisy room, remember this story. Let silence do its work. And when you do choose to speak, let your words carry the weight of the quiet that preceded them. Your voice will be heard, and it will be powerful. The alarm blares, dragging you out of your sleep. You fumble for your phone, squinting at the time. Oh no, overslept again. Your heart races as you imagine a day spiraling out of control before it even begins. Sound familiar? We've all been there, and that panicked feeling often leads to a frantic race to catch up with a day that seems to have left us behind. But what if I told you that even on mornings when time isn't on your side, you can still take control of your day's success? Yes, whether you rise at dawn or roll out of bed when the sun's high, there's a way to seize the day and master your mindset. You might be thinking, another morning routine? How boring. But stay with me here. This isn't about those glossy morning routines you see on social media, the ones where people do yoga at sunrise or make some perfectly blended smoothie while most of us are struggling to even open our eyes. No, we're talking about something more ancient, wiser, and believe it or not, much simpler. Introducing Stoicism. Now, don't tune out because it sounds like a dusty old philosophy. Stoicism isn't just for ancient Greeks or philosophy majors. It's a practical, no-frills approach to life that's just as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. In fact, it might be exactly what we need in this chaotic, fast-paced modern world. So, what is Stoicism? At its core, it's about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. It's about finding peace and inner strength no matter what life throws at you. Sounds appealing, right? Especially when you start the day feeling like you're already behind. This is where our 10 Stoic-inspired morning habits come in. These habits aren't meant to change your life overnight. They're simple, actionable practices that help you start your day with intention, even if you've hit the snooze button too many times. We're talking about setting small goals for the day, practicing gratitude for the little things, or even something as basic as splashing cold water on your face to wake up both body and mind. These aren't meant to add more stress to your morning, but to help you approach the day with a clear head, building resilience so that minor morning mishaps don't derail your whole day. The best part? You can do most of these habits even if your time and resources are limited. By the end of this, you'll have a toolkit of simple but powerful practices to help you start your day right, no matter what time it begins. You'll learn how to turn problems into opportunities for growth, stay focused in a world full of distractions, and find your own motivation, even when you don't feel like doing anything. So stick around. Whether you're a habitual snoozer, a busy parent, a night shift worker, or just someone trying to bring more balance to your mornings, these Stoic morning habits could be the change you've been searching for. Let's explore how to make every morning a good morning, no matter what time you get out of bed. Now, let's be real. Mornings in the 21st century are tough. We're not waking up to the sound of roosters anymore, right? Instead, it's the jarring alarm, endless notifications on our phones, and that race against the clock before we've even fully opened our eyes. Think about it. How many times have you reached for your phone first thing, only to be bombarded by emails, news, and social media updates? Suddenly, your mind is already racing with thoughts of work, world events, or even someone's dinner from last night before your feet have even touched the floor. Not exactly the calm, peaceful start you'd like, is it? And then there's the pressure. Oh, the pressure. We're constantly surrounded by images of the perfect morning. You know, those ideal Instagram-worthy routines where people seem to have enough time to run a few miles, whip up a gourmet breakfast, and dive into Tolstoy's War and Peace, all before 8 a.m. It's enough to make you want to pull the covers over your head and give up before the day's even begun. But here's the thing, those traditional morning routines we hear about so often, they tend to fail, and here's why. They're usually too rigid, time-consuming, or simply unrealistic for most of us. They don't account for the fact that life happens. Sometimes you oversleep, sometimes your kid gets sick, and sometimes you're just not in the mood to be the early bird, even if you usually are. These habits often focus on adding more to an already packed morning instead of helping us navigate through the chaos. What we really need is a way to approach our mornings with flexibility and intention. Something that works whether we're up at the crack of dawn or rolling out of bed later than planned. That's where Stoicism comes in. Not as another item on the to-do list, but as a mindset shift that can help us reclaim our mornings and, by extension, our day. So, let's dive into how you can start practicing stoicism each morning, setting the stage for a day where you're not just surviving, but thriving. We are often taught what to do, but rarely how to think. In a world where circumstances can change in an instant, our mindset is truly the most important thing we have. We get caught up in the doing and forget about becoming. We focus on ticking off tasks from our endless to-do lists, but lose sight of what really matters, starting the day with the right mindset, no matter what time we wake up or what challenges await us. The obstacles we face each morning are not easy, but what's the solution if traditional morning routines aren't cutting it? That's where we turn to our ancient friends, the Stoic philosophers. Don't underestimate them. The thoughts and principles they lived by are perfectly suited to our hectic modern lives. Stoicism, a solution for the modern age. Now, I know what you're thinking. Stoic philosophy? How is something so ancient supposed to help me navigate these crazy mornings? But get ready to be surprised, because Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or silently enduring hardships. It's far more practical and intriguing than that. At its core, Stoicism is about cultivating inner strength, focusing on what you can control, and finding peace of mind even when faced with chaos. Does that sound useful for those hectic mornings? Absolutely. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus didn't just sit around and theorize. They faced real-world challenges, ruling an empire, enduring exile, even surviving as slaves. Through it all, they developed principles that not only helped them survive, but thrive. So, how do these ancient teachings apply to our lives today? Imagine waking up late and feeling like your day is already ruined. The Stoic approach would not be to panic or beat yourself up over it. Instead, you'd accept the situation, because you can't change the fact that you overslept, and then focus on what you can control, your actions and attitude from that moment on. Use it as an opportunity to make the best of the situation. Stoicism teaches us how to find calm in chaos, how to be resilient in the face of challenges, and how to keep improving ourselves. It's about building a strong inner core that can weather any storm, even those mornings that start off on the wrong foot. The beauty of Stoicism is that it doesn't demand dramatic actions or sweeping life changes. It focuses on small, consistent habits practiced daily that gradually lead to meaningful transformations. That's why we have 10 Stoic-inspired morning habits. These habits won't magically make your mornings perfect, but they will equip you with the tools to approach your mornings and your day with clarity, calm, and focus. They help you build inner strength, bit by bit, day after day, so you can handle whatever life throws at you, from oversleeping to spilled coffee to unexpected meetings. Are you ready to explore how ancient wisdom can revolutionize your modern mornings? Let's dive into the 10 Stoic morning habits and start transforming each morning into an opportunity for growth, no matter what time you wake up. Trust me, these Stoic philosophers will become your greatest allies in handling the challenges of your morning routine. Let's begin with the first habit, setting an intention for the day. I know what you might be thinking. Set an intention the moment I wake up. Really? But hear me out. This simple habit can completely change your life. Imagine you're about to go on a road trip. You wouldn't just hop in the car and start driving without knowing where you're going, right? The same applies to your day. Without a clear direction, you're more likely to get lost in the daily chaos, feeling like you're just reacting to whatever happens instead of steering your own course. How do you do this? It's easier than you think. When you wake up, before you even get out of bed, take a moment to ask yourself, what's my main objective today? It doesn't have to be something big. It could be finishing that report you've been putting off, being more patient with your kids, or simply getting through a tough day at work with a positive attitude. What's the benefit of this? By setting an intention, you give your day a purpose and direction. It's like having a North Star to guide you. When you feel overwhelmed or distracted, you can return to your goal and refocus your energy. This small act of starting the day with intention shifts your mindset from one of reaction to one of action. It transforms the way you approach the inevitable challenges, helping you tackle them with clarity and purpose, rather than stress and confusion. Imagine waking up late, feeling anxious about all the tasks piling up. Instead of panicking, take a deep breath and set a simple goal for the day. Today, I will stay calm under pressure. Just like that, you've established a mindset framework to handle the day ahead, no matter what challenges come your way. Remember, your goal doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about adding pressure, but giving yourself a positive direction. So, start the day with a goal, even if it's as simple as, today, I will do my best. Trust me, this small shift will make a big difference. The next habit is gratitude. You might think, gratitude? Seriously? I woke up late, my alarm didn't go off, and now you want me to be thankful? Yes, that's exactly what I'm suggesting, and here's why it matters. Practicing gratitude flips a mental switch, shifting focus from what's going wrong to what's going right. No matter how rough the day seems, there's always something to be thankful for. You can start small. Think of 3 things you're grateful for. Feel the gratitude. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it's the cozy bed you just left, the coffee waiting in the kitchen, or simply the fact that you're alive and have a new day to explore. The benefits of practicing gratitude are powerful. It injects positive energy into your mind, reduces stress, improves mood, and helps you start your day with a more optimistic outlook. When you concentrate on the good, it becomes harder to dwell on the bad. Let's look at a real-life example. Suppose you wake up to find your car won't start. Frustrating, right? But instead of letting that ruin your day, you choose to practice gratitude. You're thankful for the neighbor who offers you a ride, for the extra time to listen to your favorite podcast on the bus, and for the problem-solving skills you'll use to get the car fixed. Suddenly, the situation doesn't seem as awful. Gratitude isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything's perfect. It's about recognizing that even in tough times, there's always something to appreciate. So start your day by counting your blessings, no matter how small. Now, brace yourself for the next habit, using cold water to wake up. I can almost hear some of you groaning already, but trust me, this stoic practice is both invigorating and mentally challenging. Why do this? Stoic philosophers believed in voluntarily enduring discomfort to build willpower, and nothing shocks the senses and banishes grogginess like a splash of cold water. You can start small by splashing cold water on your face during your morning wash. Or, if you're feeling braver, finish your shower with 30 seconds of cold water. For the truly bold, an entirely cold shower awaits. Whatever you choose, the key is to embrace the discomfort. The benefit isn't just waking you up, it's about building mental resilience. By willingly facing discomfort in the morning, you train your mind to handle the day's challenges. Plus, cold water boosts circulation and even strengthens the immune system. Picture this. You've hit snooze 3 times and feel sluggish. You drag yourself to the bathroom, turn the dial to cold, and step in. It's shocking, it's uncomfortable, but as the cold water hits your body, you feel alive, your mind sharpens. When you step out of that shower, you'll feel energized and proud, having faced a challenge first thing. Your day has just started, and you've already conquered something difficult. Remember, cold water isn't about punishing yourself. It's about proving you can do hard things. Start small if you need to, but give it a try. You'll be surprised at how it sets the tone for a confident, challenge-ready day. Next up is something that seems obvious, but is crucial: making a to-do list. But wait, don't roll your eyes just yet. This isn't just another boring productivity hack. I'm going to explain why it's a key Stoic practice. Why make a list? Stoic philosophers focused on what we can control. A to-do list does exactly that. It turns the swirling tasks in your mind into concrete, actionable items on paper or screen, where you can actually deal with them. The Stoic approach to this is simple. Write down the 3 most important things you need to accomplish today. Not what you want to do, not what you should do, but what you absolutely must do. This isn't about overwhelming yourself with an endless list of tasks. Instead, it's about giving your day structure and focusing on what truly matters. This way, when you're tempted to get distracted or overwhelmed, you can return to your list and realign your focus. A good to-do list is like a compass, keeping you on track and preventing you from feeling lost in the day's chaos. The list should be intentional, not just a dumping ground for every possible task you can think of. Choose the top 3 priorities that will move the needle for you that day, then tackle them one by one. By setting clear, manageable goals, you're more likely to end the day feeling accomplished rather than frazzled. This simple act of prioritization is key to mastering your mornings and, by extension, your entire day. Focus on what you can control and make sure it's realistic. The benefit here is prioritizing and maintaining clarity. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by a never-ending to-do list, you'll have a clear and manageable action plan. This reduces anxiety because you know exactly where your attention needs to be. Plus, is there anything more satisfying than crossing off completed tasks? Let's take a real-world example. Imagine waking up stressed about a big project at work, a messy house, and a dozen unread emails. Instead of trying to tackle everything at once, you break it down. Work on the project for 2 hours, clean the kitchen, respond to 3 important emails. Suddenly, your day feels more manageable. You know where to focus, and the rest can wait. Remember, a to-do list isn't about cramming in as much as possible. It's about identifying what truly matters and allowing yourself to focus on that. Spend a few minutes each morning making this list, and you'll see huge benefits from this simple habit. Now, let's talk about avoiding distractions. In today's world, this might be the hardest habit to master, but it's also one of the most important. Why should we avoid distractions? Stoic philosophers believed in living in the present and focusing on what we can control. But in our modern world, it's so easy to start the day by drowning in distractions. Social media, news, emails, all pulling us away from our goals and cluttering our minds. So how can we combat this? Here's the challenge. Don't check your phone for the first 30 minutes after waking up. I know, it sounds impossible, but give it a shot. Use this time to think, plan, or simply enjoy your coffee in peace. The benefit of starting the day without distractions is that it lays a foundation for the entire day. You're in control of your attention, not letting others dictate it for you. This leads to better focus, less stress, and a clearer sense of purpose throughout your day. Imagine 2 different mornings. In one, you wake up and immediately check your phone. You see some distressing news, a stressful work email, and a social media post that makes you feel inadequate. Your mood sinks before you even get out of bed. Now picture the other morning. You wake up, resist the urge to check your phone, take a few deep breaths, think about your intentions for the day, and enjoy a quiet moment. Which morning sets you up for a better day? Avoiding distractions isn't about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about choosing when and how you engage with it. By starting your day free from distractions, you're giving yourself the gift of a calm, focused mind, something truly invaluable in today's chaotic world. Let's move on to the next Stoic morning habit: physical movement. Before you start groaning about early morning runs, hear me out. This isn't about intense workouts, it's about connecting with your body and jump-starting your day. Why move your body? The Stoics understood the deep connection between physical and mental well-being. They knew that caring for the body was essential to having a clear and focused mind. Plus, just a little movement in the morning can completely change the course of your day, especially in a world where most of us spend hours hunched over at desks. So how do you do this? Keep it simple. We're only talking about 5 to 10 minutes of movement. It could be a few quick yoga stretches, a short walk around the block, or even dancing in your living room. The key is to get your blood flowing and wake up your body. What's the benefit? Morning movement boosts your energy, improves your mood, and sharpens your focus for the day ahead. It's like hitting a reset button for your body and mind, shaking off the grogginess and making you feel more awake and alive. Picture this. You wake up feeling sluggish and unmotivated. Instead of reaching for that 3rd cup of coffee, you decide to try this habit. You put on some music and dance around your room for 5 minutes. At first, it feels a little silly, but soon, you're smiling, your heart is pumping, and you feel ready to tackle the day. That's the power of morning movement. Remember, it's not about perfect execution or intense exercise. It's about connecting with your body and starting your day with positive energy. So roll out of bed and get moving. Your body and mind will thank you for it. Tell yourself that you can do it. The 7th habit focuses on the power of positive self-talk. I know it might sound a bit cliché, but stick with me because this simple habit can be incredibly effective. Why do this? The Stoic philosophers understood the power of thoughts to shape our reality. They knew that our inner dialogue can either strengthen us or weaken us. By consciously choosing positive self-talk, we set ourselves up for success. It's simple. Look in the mirror, or just tell yourself something like, "I can handle anything that comes my way today." Say it with confidence, even if you don't fully believe it yet. What's the benefit? Positive self-talk boosts confidence, reduces anxiety, and helps you approach challenges with a can-do mindset. It's like becoming your own personal cheerleader, providing that extra motivation for the day. Imagine you have a big presentation at work. You feel nervous, your stomach's in knots, and you're tempted to call in sick. But instead of giving in to fear, you look in the mirror and say, "I've prepared well, I know my material, and I can do this." You repeat it until you start believing it. Suddenly, the presentation doesn't seem as daunting because you've shifted your mindset from fear to confidence. Remember, this isn't about denying real challenges, but reminding yourself that you have the strength to face them. Make it a habit to tell yourself this every morning. It might feel awkward at first, but over time, it becomes a powerful tool in your Stoic toolkit. Now, let's take a deep breath and discuss the 8th habit, mindful breathing. It might seem too simple to be effective, but trust me, this is one of the core practices of Stoicism. Why focus on your breath? Stoic philosophers recognize that breathing is one of the few things we can always control, no matter the situation. Focusing on the breath calms the mind, reduces stress, and brings us back to the present moment. How do you do it? Start with something simple yet powerful. Deep breathing for 5 minutes. Take a few minutes to sit quietly and concentrate on your breathing. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold it for 4 seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 4. If your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring your attention back to your breath. The benefit of deep breathing is a calmer mind, reduced stress, better focus, and a way to begin the day from a place of calm. It's like hitting the reset button for your nervous system, allowing you to approach the day with a clear, neutral mindset. Imagine this. You wake up to a flood of stressful emails and messages. Your heart starts racing and your mind spirals, making it feel like the day is already slipping out of control. But instead of reacting immediately, you take 5 minutes to focus on your breath. As you breathe deeply, your heart rate slows, your muscles relax, and your mind clears. Now, you're ready to respond to those messages with calmness instead of panic. Remember, this isn't about emptying your mind of all thoughts. It's about anchoring yourself to the present moment through each breath. So, take a few minutes each morning to breathe deeply. It's a small investment of time with huge returns for your mental state throughout the day. Let's move to habit number 9, tracking your progress. This isn't about obsessing over every little detail, but acknowledging what you've accomplished. Why track your progress? Stoic philosophers believed in the continuous improvement of oneself, but they also understood the importance of recognizing progress. By acknowledging your achievements, you fuel the motivation to keep going. Take a few moments each morning to reflect on something you accomplished the previous day, no matter how small. Maybe you made that difficult phone call, stuck to your exercise routine, or handled a stressful situation with calm. Acknowledge it and give yourself credit. What's the benefit? Checking in on your progress boosts motivation and self-esteem, helps you focus on growth instead of perfection, and reminds you that you are capable of making positive changes in your life. Let's take an example. You've been working on becoming more patient. When you wake up, you think back to the previous day and remember how you took a deep breath and reacted calmly when a colleague made a mistake, instead of snapping like you might have done in the past. It's a small thing, but it's progress. Acknowledging this gives you confidence and the drive to keep practicing patience today. Remember, this isn't about comparing yourself to others or setting unrealistic standards. It's about recognizing your own growth, even if it's just small steps forward. Take a moment each morning to reflect on how far you've come. You might be surprised by the progress you've made. Now, let's move on to the final Stoic habit of the morning: viewing problems as challenges. Shifting your mindset in this way can transform how you approach every day. Why change your perspective on problems? Stoic philosophers believe that perception shapes reality. By viewing problems as challenges or opportunities, you empower yourself to face them with determination instead of feeling overwhelmed by life. How do you do this? When confronted with a problem, instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can this make me stronger?" It's about shifting from a passive to an active mindset. The benefit of this shift is that it builds resilience and a stronger will, reducing stress by putting you in problem-solving mode rather than a state of helplessness. It can also make life more interesting as you begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth. Consider this scenario. You wake up and find that your car won't start, and you have an important meeting to attend. Instead of panicking, you see it as a challenge. You think, "All right, how do I solve this?" Maybe you carpool with a colleague or take this as a chance to finally try biking to work. Suddenly, you're not a victim of circumstance. You're in control, actively finding solutions. Keep in mind, this isn't about blind optimism or ignoring real problems. It's about approaching difficulties with a growth mindset. By starting your day with this outlook, you prepare yourself to handle any challenge with resilience and creativity. So there you have it, the 10 Stoic morning habits. Each habit is a powerful tool on its own, but together they form a comprehensive toolkit to help you begin each day with clear goals, mental resilience, and a positive mindset. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Start small, stay consistent, and you'll see how these habits can transform not only your mornings, but your life. Now, how do you put all of this into practice? Don't worry, I've got some advice for you. First, remember that this isn't an all-or-nothing approach. You don't have to adopt all 10 habits at once. Start slowly by picking 1 or 2 habits that resonate with you. Maybe begin by setting a goal for the day and practicing gratitude. Once those feel natural, introduce another habit into your routine. The key isn't perfection, but consistency. Here is a tip for those mornings when you wake up late and feel like you have no time to do anything. Pick one habit and do it, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Set your intention while brushing your teeth, practice gratitude on your commute, or take 3 deep breaths before diving into work. These habits are meant to support you, not add pressure. Be flexible and adapt them to your life. The goal isn't to tick off a checklist, but to cultivate a truly Stoic mindset. As we wrap up, I want you to remember that change doesn't happen overnight. The Stoics understood that personal growth is a lifelong journey, not a final destination. Be patient with yourself. Start small, stay consistent, and you'll see how these habits gradually but surely transform your mornings and your life. Every morning is a new opportunity to practice these Stoic principles, even if yesterday didn't go as planned. Today is another chance to try again. That's the beauty of this philosophy. It's not about perfection, but about continuous improvement. So I challenge you, my fellow Stoics, to give these habits a try. Starting tomorrow, choose one habit and commit to practicing it for a week. See how it impacts your days, your mindset, and your life. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're here to support you every step of the way. Thank you for joining me today in our Stoic community. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more Stoic wisdom for modern life. Drop a comment below and let us know which habit you're going to try first. Keep in mind, every morning is a chance to strengthen your mindset, face life's challenges with resilience, and become the best version of yourself. So rise and shine, Stoic warriors. The day is waiting for you, and you absolutely have what it takes. I'll see you next time. Stay strong, live with Stoic purpose, and turn each morning into a meaningful start. Thank you for watching until the end. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and share it to spread the positive message. And don't forget to subscribe to catch our next videos. No one likes the feeling of being taken advantage of, especially when it's someone you deeply care about, whether in a romantic relationship or a close friendship. It can be incredibly disheartening when that person always seems to want something from you without reciprocating the same energy or care. Over time, this imbalance can erode your self-worth, leaving you questioning your value and eventually leading to heartbreak. Whether it's someone who constantly demands special favors but is too busy to help you when you need it, or a friend who endlessly unloads their problems onto you, expecting your advice and support, yet vanishes when you need a listening ear. These dynamics signal that you might be in a relationship where you're being exploited. Sometimes, this person might seem more interested in your physical presence than truly spending time together or having meaningful conversations. These are telltale signs of a one-sided relationship, and when you're caught in one, it's crucial to reflect on what value that relationship is truly bringing to your life. Stoic philosophy teaches us a vital lesson here. Not everyone you meet is meant to stay, and not every relationship deserves your time and energy. It's essential to learn how to recognize red flags and activate your inner warning system to protect yourself and preserve your mental and emotional well-being. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life that encourages resilience through life's storms. Most importantly, remember that your value is not determined by how others treat or perceive you, but by how you see and confront yourself. Before we dive deeper, I want you to commit to watching this video until the end. Every piece of content here is crucial for your journey of self-discovery and emotional freedom. So focus, gather your mental strength, and let's go through this together. First, let's talk about guilt. Have you ever felt the weight of someone's gaze or the sting of their words, wrapping around your heart like a tightening grip of sadness? In a relationship where you're not seen as a partner, but merely as a tool to fulfill someone else's desires, guilt becomes one of the most insidious and toxic weapons. However, Stoicism shines a light on this dark path, offering a way out, a promise of inner peace and freedom. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them." His words echo through time, soothing the chaos in our minds. Why do we allow the meanings others impose on us to shape our lives? How can we stand firm in the storm without being swept away by the emotions others create? The first step is self-reflection. Do these feelings of guilt truly reflect who you are, or are they just the shadows of unreasonable expectations and demands? Marcus Aurelius, who faced the storms of power and life's challenges, reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. To find peace, we must focus our attention on what truly matters to us, our own values and principles, not the baseless desires of others. When you begin to examine your feelings through the lens of freedom and choice, you're not only freeing yourself from the chains of guilt, but also unlocking the strength to face and overcome any challenge. Now, are you ready to face your fear and move beyond it? Will you let go of the unfair guilt and continue your journey with a stronger heart and a firm personal resolve? This is more than a spiritual path. It's a commitment to yourself, a steadfast decision to live a life that's not dictated by the judgments and expectations of others. It's a promise to take control of your future, where you hold the key to your own happiness and freedom. Next, let's examine persistent disrespect. Take Jack, for example, a man stuck in a toxic work environment. Despite his best efforts, Jack constantly feels dismissed. His opinions are ignored, his contributions undervalued, and his colleagues barely acknowledge his presence. This lack of respect wears down on him, slowly but surely. This type of prolonged disrespect, whether in a workplace or in a personal relationship, can chip away at your sense of self-worth. However, the Stoic mindset encourages us to rise above these external judgments and focus on maintaining our inner integrity. We can't control how others act, but we can control how we respond. Jack's sense of self-worth has begun to crumble under the persistent lack of respect he experiences. When people repeatedly dismiss or ignore someone's input, the subtle damage inflicted can grow into serious self-doubt. In relationships, whether personal or professional, disrespect can manifest in many forms, from simply not listening to someone while they speak to outright rejecting or disregarding their ideas. This behavior not only erodes the mental well-being of the individual on the receiving end, but it also weakens the foundation of mutual trust and respect that any healthy relationship is built upon. So, what can Jack do in this situation? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Jack must first understand that his value is not contingent on the opinions or judgments of others. Instead of reacting with negative emotions, he can practice restraint and prevent those feelings from driving his actions. He needs to confidently and assertively express that he deserves respect while maintaining calm and patience. This is not about demanding respect through force or anger, but through a dignified and steady insistence on what is right. Respect is not a vague concept, but a core element of all healthy relationships. It acts as a beacon, guiding those who seek genuine connection. When we show true respect to each other, something profound happens. It's not just about building trust in others, but also about creating an image of ourselves that is rooted in dignity and self-respect. This is the version of ourselves we want to share with those we love. However, when we encounter moments of disrespect or disconnect, these pivotal experiences often leave a deep, unspoken loneliness. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, we can explore how to reclaim independence and find the light that guides us through the shadows of isolation. Imagine a tree that provides shade only when the sun is shining, but its shelter disappears the moment storm clouds gather. This image serves as a metaphor for relationships. In times of peace and calm, some people stand by, reaping the benefits of the connection, but when challenges arise, they fade away. This absence not only reveals the true nature of the relationship, but also pushes us to draw strength from within. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, once said, "A happy life is one which is in accordance with its own nature." In this context, happiness cannot depend on people who are only present when circumstances are favorable. We must ask ourselves, where are we drawing our strength from? Are we depending on external sources, or do we find it within ourselves? Stoicism teaches us that self-reliance and independence are essential for facing any adversity. When someone is absent during pivotal moments in your life, it can be a hard lesson to learn, but it's also an opportunity to grow inner strength and discover your capacity. It's not the presence of others that matters most, but how we cope with their absence. Do we let that absence create an emotional void, or do we fill that space with self-reliance and the will to overcome? The key to a fulfilled life lies in realizing that contentment and happiness cannot be taken from you by anyone or anything external. When we internalize this Stoic principle, we start living in harmony with its core teachings. Though you may feel abandoned when someone isn't there in your most vulnerable moments, these are precisely the times when you learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Their absence, much like the shadow that vanishes in the storm, allows the light of your self-sufficiency and inner freedom to shine brightly. Imagine your emotions as a garden, with each feeling being a beautiful flower. When someone uses you without caring for you, It's as if they only focus on one blooming flower, neglecting the rest of the garden, your real needs, your deeper emotions, leaving them unattended. This kind of behavior, which makes you feel guilty, is not just harmful, it's proof that the other person isn't truly nurturing your emotional garden. When faced with guilt, ask yourself, is my garden being affected by external conditions? Am I letting someone else determine its value by the way they treat me? The answers lie in your choices. You have the power to care for this garden in the way that best serves you, nurturing the emotions and values that allow it to flourish and bloom naturally. As you tend to your inner world, you decide which feelings to cultivate, ensuring that your self-respect and personal growth take root and thrive, regardless of external circumstances. In doing so, you reclaim control over your happiness and well-being, nurturing a life that is both resilient and authentically yours. Imagine you're tending to a mental garden, where each thought and emotion is like a delicate flower that needs to be protected from external negativity. Recognizing and safeguarding this mental space requires awareness and determination. It's important to remember that we have control over how we care for and protect this inner garden. Stoicism doesn't teach us to be numb or indifferent to our emotions, but rather to acknowledge and nurture them consciously, refusing to let them be damaged by the indifference or harmful actions of others. How will you care for your mental garden in difficult moments? How will you reaffirm your value when faced with challenges? These are questions we must all answer as we cultivate the diverse and flourishing gardens of our minds. Now, imagine you're in a marathon with no finish line. You're running not for joy, health, or personal fulfillment, but simply to outpace others. When you realize someone is taking advantage of you and doesn't genuinely care, especially in a relationship dominated by competition, it's critical to ask, what am I trying to achieve, and who is really benefiting from this race? Unhealthy competition can turn relationships into power struggles, devoid of mutual respect and understanding. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living a virtuous life, where the goal isn't to defeat others but to conquer oneself, your weaknesses, fears, and inflated ego. Take this time to reflect on your true worth. It's not about surpassing others, but about progressing beyond the person you were yesterday. The question you should ask yourself isn't, how many people have I beaten, but rather, how have I grown? When you start to measure yourself by your personal standards and progress, you'll not only find peace and happiness, but also create space for healthy relationships where competition isn't the focus. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." As we delve deeper into Stoic philosophy and focus on personal development and ethical living, we not only grow stronger in the face of those who seek to exploit us, but we also become leaders in fostering a balanced and healthier environment for everyone around us. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You have the power to reshape your path and reclaim your self-worth. Use Stoic philosophy as a tool to navigate situations where you feel used or taken for granted, as well as the daily challenges of life, to become the true master of your own existence. In life, we often find ourselves in relationships where certain people focus solely on competition, using us as a means to their own ends without genuinely caring for us. However, Stoic philosophy offers valuable approaches for handling these situations. While constant competition can leave us feeling stressed and anxious, Stoicism encourages cooperation and unity, while also teaching us to set boundaries and maintain self-respect, avoiding the trap of neglecting ourselves. More importantly, I want to take a moment to thank all of you who have taken the time to watch this video. Your support means everything, and I encourage you to continue by liking, sharing, and subscribing so you don't miss out on future content about Stoic philosophy. In Stoicism, we see a stark contrast between endless competition and personal detachment. This is a key moment to pause and reflect on how we create value in our own lives and in our relationships with others. Before moving on to the next lesson, I'd like to once again express my gratitude to those of you following and supporting this video. Your presence is an invaluable source of motivation for us. Please continue to engage by liking, sharing, and watching through to the end to further explore this important topic. Now, shift your focus to the next type of person. Picture a conversation as a dynamic two-way street, full of shared thoughts, experiences, and emotions. In a healthy relationship, this exchange flows vibrantly, with mutual respect and attention. But when someone is merely using you without genuine care, that street turns eerily quiet, becoming one-way. It's important to remember that a relationship can only thrive when both sides are fully invested, offering care and concern for one another. This reciprocity is fundamental in maintaining any relationship, but when faced with someone who exploits you, that exchange quickly becomes unbalanced. In today's world, the lack of personal attention from others is more than just a barrier in relationships. It's a profound psychological challenge. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should not rely on others to define our self-worth. When someone doesn't invest in your life, emotions, or needs, it's an opportunity to express your independence and inner strength. Imagine being in a relationship where the other person never truly cares, never listens to your thoughts and feelings, and sees you only as a tool for their personal gain. In these moments, the feeling of abandonment and lack of appreciation can overwhelm your mind. Yet Stoicism encourages us not to let such situations erode our confidence or diminish our autonomy. Instead, we can view them as moments to focus on self-development, independent of others' approval. Ask yourself, why should my value depend on someone else? What can I learn and grow from in their absence? As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. We cannot change others, but we can change how we respond and manage difficult situations. This is where true power lies, in self-mastery and personal growth. Breaking promises is like a stage play where words are actors, but the script, the actions, gets forgotten. In the realm of Stoicism, ethics and motivation are built on patience and accountability. Breaking promises doesn't just betray others, but it betrays yourself. Those who exploit without truly caring often make promises they cannot keep. They may create an atmosphere of trust, only to shatter it later. When promises are broken, it's not just disappointing, it cuts deep into trust and emotions. But according to Stoic philosophy, betrayal comes not only from others, but also from within, when we fail to uphold our own commitments. In these situations, Stoicism urges us to acknowledge and take responsibility for our actions, learn from our mistakes, and strive to improve in the future. We've all felt the sting of disappointment when a promise is not fulfilled. That feeling can be painful and erode our trust in others. How should we manage our emotions in such instances? Stoicism offers a unique perspective, encouraging us to accept and regulate our emotions with calmness and reason. Thus, keeping promises is not just an obligation to others, it's a valuable opportunity for personal growth and moral integrity. This isn't merely about avoiding mistakes, it's a chance to demonstrate loyalty and respect for others, while enriching your own soul along the path of self-improvement. On this journey, promises between ourselves and others are more than just commitments. They are affirmations of our integrity and our place in a better, more ethical community. A healthy relationship doesn't only demand interaction, it also requires sincerity, accountability, and respect for agreements made. When we honor our commitments and follow through on promises, we don't just reinforce trust, we solidify our own reliability and value. What are your thoughts on this? Your insights could be a guiding light for someone else. Share your reflections in the comments below, and together, let's seek a deeper understanding of life through the lens of Stoicism. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like, share with others, and subscribe so you won't miss out on more insightful content. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to dislike you immediately, even though you've done nothing to provoke them? It feels as though no matter what you do, there's always someone who looks at you with disdain or hostility. The question of why certain people simply hate us is a mystery that isn't always tied to our actions or words. Sometimes, the reason behind such negativity lies deeper, embedded in complex psychological factors like jealousy or misunderstandings. Understanding this phenomenon isn't just a matter of curiosity, it's essential for navigating the intricate social dynamics we encounter every day. In this video, we will explore 9 reasons why people may develop strong negative feelings towards us. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank you for your ongoing support. Creating these videos brings me immense joy, and it's even more fulfilling to read your kind comments. I go through all of them. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so YouTube can recommend this video to others like you. Now, are you ready to embark on this transformative journey of understanding? Let's get started. First, let's talk about jealousy and envy. These two emotions are some of the most profound and common reasons why someone might harbor resentment toward you. Jealousy and envy act like a poison in human relationships, capable of turning admiration into contempt and respect into hatred. They often arise when someone sees qualities in you that they wish they had but believe they can't attain. This can be triggered by many things, from career success and personal achievements to your personality traits or lifestyle. In many cases, jealousy and envy reflect dissatisfaction that a person feels about their own life. Rather than drawing inspiration from your success or feeling happy for you, they see your qualities and accomplishments as a mirror reflecting their own shortcomings or misfortune. This feeling can evolve into deep resentment, leading them to hope for your downfall or to experience some sort of failure in an attempt to soothe their own discomfort or dissatisfaction. What's most damaging about jealousy and envy is that they can push the person feeling these emotions into behaviors like gossip, slander, or even sabotage, all aimed at undermining your efforts and achievements. They may try to discredit your work or spread false narratives about your character, hoping to knock you down from the position they believe you occupy. It's crucial to remember that jealousy and envy are their problems, not yours. While it's easy to internalize someone's hatred and begin to question yourself or assign blame to your actions, you're not responsible for their insecurities or discontent. Your accomplishments and traits shouldn't be diminished just because someone else can't deal with their own inner issues. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't worry about what's beyond your control." The jealousy or envy that others direct toward you is clearly out of your control, and Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, and your responses. Understanding that jealousy and envy are often the root cause of the hatred some people feel towards you can help you navigate these complex interactions. Knowing how to face these negative emotions with maturity and composure, without letting them affect you, is a key skill in maintaining your peace of mind and continuing on your personal and professional growth. Now let's move to misunderstandings and poor communication. Often, what begins as a minor or insignificant event can evolve into the source of deep and lasting grudges. At the heart of these misunderstandings, there are often misinterpretations or a lack of clarity in how we express ourselves or how others perceive our words. Misunderstandings arise when there's a disconnect between how we intend to communicate and how others receive our message. This can lead to unintended negative thoughts, which escalate into conflict. Understanding the mechanisms behind misunderstandings and the way communication works can help us prevent or resolve unnecessary disputes. It's about learning to express yourself clearly and also being mindful of how others might interpret your words. Developing effective communication skills not only helps you avoid conflict, but also fosters stronger, more positive relationships in every area of your life. When there's a gap in how information is interpreted, it's crucial to clarify and proactively explain your intentions to avoid escalating unnecessary negative emotions. The intent behind a message and how it is received can be completely different. A misplaced word, a misunderstood tone, or even a subtle facial expression can be enough to create a false impression. These small communication mishaps can lead to misjudgments about someone's intentions or attitudes, causing others to believe you are disrespectful, indifferent, or even hostile. Ineffective communication also plays a significant role in building emotional barriers and misunderstandings. This often happens when we don't convey our thoughts and feelings clearly, leaving room for incorrect assumptions. In many other cases, failure to practice active listening or truly understand the other person's perspective can lead to mistaken assumptions and misjudgments, fostering a breeding ground for negative emotions. When people feel misunderstood or believe they've been misinterpreted, they can begin to develop animosity based on these failed communication experiences. What started as a small misunderstanding can grow and morph into hostility, often unrelated to the reality of the situation or the relationship. Recognizing the importance of misunderstandings and poor communication as sources of negative emotions is essential to avoid unjustified hatred. We need to strive for clear, open, and sincere communication in all interactions. Additionally, it's important to give others the benefit of the doubt and seek clarification when ambiguity arises. By doing so, we can avoid unnecessary resentment and maintain healthier, more positive interpersonal relationships. Another significant factor is the difference in fundamental values and beliefs. We live in a diverse world where each individual is shaped by a unique set of values and beliefs that guide their perceptions, decisions, and behaviors. When these values clash with others, it can be the starting point for disagreements and ultimately hatred. Value differences can range from political or religious views to ideas about work ethics or lifestyle choices. When someone believes that their values are absolutely correct or superior, anyone with a different set of beliefs may be viewed as an adversary or a threat. The us versus them mentality is a common source of conflict between individuals and can quickly turn disagreements into disdain. Furthermore, when someone's beliefs are deeply ingrained, any challenge to those beliefs is often perceived as a personal attack. This can trigger a strong defensive reaction, leading to hostility toward the person representing that perceived threat. In such situations, the conflict is no longer just about differing opinions, but becomes a battle between identities and worldviews. These differences can also lead to prejudice and hasty judgments. When people don't make an effort to understand someone else's perspective and instead resort to generalizing, they create barriers that block empathy and mutual understanding. These judgments can turn into hatred, especially when fueled by unacknowledged fears or biases. In Stoic philosophy, this idea is emphasized, suggesting that personal beliefs and values are products of individual experiences and perceptions. Epicurus, one of the prominent philosophers associated with Stoicism, would remind us that each of us is a product of our upbringing and environment. In this sense, it's natural for people to have different values and beliefs. Encouraging open dialogue, tolerance, and respect for differences not only prevents hatred, but also enriches our own experience and understanding of the world. Accepting that not everyone will share our views, and that this is perfectly normal, is a crucial step toward harmonious coexistence in a pluralistic society. Additionally, the impact of rumors and gossip is another critical factor that contributes to the development of hatred. Rumors, often spread by third parties, are usually inaccurate or distorted, but they have a powerful influence on how we perceive others. Even if untrue, once a rumor is out there, it can change how someone is viewed, leading to mistrust, resentment, or outright animosity. The ease with which false information can spread, especially in today's age of social media and instant communication, means that many people form opinions based on incomplete or misleading data. This is why it's essential to question the validity of what we hear and avoid letting gossip dictate our relationships. By challenging these influences and promoting more direct, honest interactions, we can foster healthier, more authentic connections free from the destructive effects of misinformation. Rumors and gossip act like wildfire, fueling misunderstandings and spreading suspicion among people. When rumors are exaggerated, driven by malice, or simply a desire to stir curiosity, they can cause immense harm. They have the power to unfairly alter how others perceive you, often in ways that are irreversible. Gossip spreads like a virus in social circles, quickly tainting the opinions of others before you even have a chance to present the truth. Once a rumor takes root, it can grow and distort reality, creating a false image of who you truly are. This becomes especially damaging when rumors touch on negative or sensitive aspects of your life or character. The problem with rumors is that even when they are baseless, they can still be incredibly persuasive. People tend to believe what they hear, particularly when a rumor aligns with their pre-existing doubts or biases. Moreover, the forbidden or sensational nature of gossip makes it all the more enticing, increasing its likelihood to spread. The dissemination of false or misleading information creates a toxic environment where you are judged and condemned without evidence or fairness. The consequences of these rumors can range from social isolation and the loss of friendships to more severe impacts on your personal life and career. Hatred born from rumors is among the hardest to deal with, as you're not fighting against reality, but against a distorted version of yourself. It's important to recognize the powerful role that rumors play in shaping the hatred people may feel toward you. While it can be challenging, confronting these rumors with truth and maintaining your integrity despite the lies is essential. Remember, your sincerity and honesty are your strongest weapons against the poison of gossip. Trusting in your own truth and fostering transparency in your relationships will help dispel the lies and rebuild your reputation in the eyes of others. In the long run, truth and integrity will always outlast falsehoods and malicious intent. Another factor worth mentioning is personal insecurity and emotional transference. This is a complex and often overlooked reality, but it plays a crucial role in the dynamics of hatred between individuals. When personal insecurities are not faced and overcome, they can evolve into jealousy, resentment, and eventually hatred toward those who don't appear to share the same weaknesses or shortcomings. Fears and insecurities can arise from various sources, such as past experiences, perceived failures, or social comparisons. As Seneca noted, when someone feels insecure, they may unconsciously project those emotions onto others, especially those who seem to represent the opposite of their insecurities. For example, if someone feels inadequate in their career, they may develop resentment toward a colleague who is thriving and advancing. This transference of insecurity works as a psychological defense mechanism, an attempt to cope with internal feelings of inadequacy. Instead of confronting and working through their own insecurities, some people find it easier to channel their frustration and negativity onto others. This process can lead to feelings of hatred when the person sees you as a constant reminder of their struggles and shortcomings. Another dimension of this dynamic is the sense of threat that your achievements or qualities might pose to someone with deep-seated insecurities. Instead of viewing your success as a source of inspiration, these individuals may see it as a reflection of what they lack, triggering a negative emotional response. They feel as though their own position or self-image is being threatened or diminished. It's important to understand that personal insecurities and the resulting hatred are not caused by your actions or who you are, but rather are expressions of the internal battles the other person is facing. Understanding this can help you avoid taking their negative feelings personally and maintain a healthy perspective in your interactions. Recognizing that the root of their hatred lies within their own struggles allows you to stay grounded and focus on managing your relationships with compassion and self-assurance. Recognizing this dynamic can be a crucial first step in approaching such feelings with compassion and empathy. Understanding that another person's insecurities are not your fault allows you to safeguard your mental well-being and maintain stability in your social relationships. Empathy and understanding play vital roles in dispelling misunderstandings and creating a more positive environment. In an ideal world, empathy and mutual understanding would drive our daily interactions. However, one of the most obvious reasons someone may harbor feelings of hatred is the absence of these essential qualities. A lack of empathy manifests in an inability to place oneself in another's shoes, to feel what they are experiencing, or to understand their motivations and reactions. When someone lacks empathy, their interpretations and responses to other people's actions can be severely distorted, leading them to feel offended where no offense was intended, and misinterpret genuine intentions. This often results in deep resentment based on misunderstandings. A lack of understanding is frequently exacerbated by preconceived notions, hasty judgments, and a limited ability to appreciate context and nuance. People lacking empathy often tend to view the world in a black and white way, which leads to unfair and inaccurate assessments of others. Their judgments are frequently based on assumptions or superficial observations, rather than any real effort to understand the other person's situation. This lack of empathy and understanding can also stem from selfishness. Self-centered individuals are often so focused on their own concerns that they struggle to recognize or appreciate the experiences and emotions of others. This selfishness can turn into apathy, leading them to dismiss others' challenges or successes with indifference or even disdain. Such attitudes are easily perceived as hostile or even hateful. Recognizing that a lack of empathy or understanding is one of the causes of hatred can be crucial for handling these situations. It's important to remember that, in many cases, the hatred someone feels towards you reflects more about their emotional limitations than anything you've done. Understanding this can help you approach conflicts with a more balanced perspective, aiming to build bridges of understanding where possible, or to protect yourself from emotional harm when necessary. Another key factor to consider is competition or rivalry. Relationships often rooted in competition and constant comparison can become a powerful source of negative emotions. When competition or rivalry intensifies, it can morph into hatred that goes beyond mere dispute and turns into an obsession. Competition and rivalry are common in many aspects of life, whether at work, in social circles, or even within families. Often, healthy competition can be a driving force for personal growth and improvement. However, when competition becomes obsessive, or when rivalry stems from insecurities, jealousy, or past grievances, it can degenerate into a strong desire to see the other person fail. The shift from competition to hatred usually occurs when someone feels overshadowed or undermined by another. Instead of focusing on surpassing their own limits or achieving their goals, the focus shifts to defeating or devaluing the other person. This feeling intensifies when one believes that the other's accomplishments or recognition are undeserved, or have taken away an opportunity that should have been theirs. Additionally, as Marcus Aurelius observed, heightened competition can lead to destructive behaviors such as slander, sabotage, or personal attacks. The need to win at any cost can erode a sense of morality and fairness, leading to actions aimed directly at harming others. These actions not only hurt the targeted individual, but also erode the character and integrity of the person engaging in them. Identifying competition and rivalry as potential sources of hatred is key to understanding the nature of these relationships. By recognizing these emotions in others or ourselves, we can work to turn competition into cooperation, or at least learn how to compete in a healthy and respectful way. Remembering that someone else's success doesn't diminish your value, and that there's enough space for everyone to succeed, can be a powerful antidote to the hatred that stems from competition and rivalry. Thank you for watching. If you found the content helpful, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. See you in the next one. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. This perspective invites us to embrace the preciousness of existence each day. But how can we structure our mornings to reflect the Stoic philosophy of valuing life? Today, we'll explore a morning routine grounded in Stoic wisdom to help you start your day with peace and purpose. Before diving in, if you're finding value in Stoic ideas, I'd appreciate it if you like this video to support the spread of this philosophy. If you haven't yet subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming content. First, reflect on the impermanence of life. A key tenet of Stoicism is a profound acceptance of life's transient nature. Each morning, before the world demands your attention, take a moment to immerse yourself in this truth. Find a quiet corner where you won't be disturbed, sitting in a posture that is relaxed yet upright, a physical reflection of the balance between stillness and awareness. Close your eyes and envision the vastness of the universe. Imagine stars being born and fading, galaxies spinning in the dance of time. Now zoom in on Earth, a tiny dot in this cosmic scene. Think of the rise and fall of civilizations, the mountains that have stood for ages, and the rivers that have carved their paths over millennia. Then turn your thoughts inward to your own life, just a blink in this grand cosmic picture. This contemplation is not meant to diminish our importance, but to deepen our appreciation of the fleeting, precious nature of existence. Understanding impermanence offers a profound reminder. First, it highlights the value of each day. When we truly grasp the finite nature of time, we naturally prioritize what truly matters over the trivial or fleeting. Awakening with this mindset helps guide your day with a deeper sense of purpose. This morning ritual is not about confronting death with fear, but rather embracing the present with love, respect, and action. As Seneca wisely said, life is long if you know how to use it. By beginning the day with this practice, we remind ourselves to live each day fully, meaningfully, and gracefully. The second practice is journaling. In Stoicism, journaling is more than just a record of events, it's an intimate dialogue with oneself. It serves as an act of self-examination, affirmation, and sometimes catharsis. Writing down our thoughts can lead to profound clarity. Start by choosing a journal that resonates with you, whether it's a simple notebook, a more ornate journal, or even a digital format. This is your sacred space, free of judgment or external expectation, where your thoughts, raw and unedited, can flow freely. Each morning, begin by noting the first thoughts that come to mind, whether it's lingering emotions from dreams, reflections from the previous day, or hopes for the new one. This initial outpouring is like sweeping the mental floor, clearing away the clutter. After this, shift your focus to gratitude. In the grand scheme of life, it's easy to get caught up in what we lack or desire, but Stoicism teaches us the power of appreciating what we already have. List 3 things you're genuinely grateful for, whether it's the warmth of your blanket, the smile of a loved one, or simply the privilege of waking up to a new day. Beyond gratitude, engage in deeper self-reflection. Consider a Stoic principle or a personal challenge you're facing. Ask yourself, am I living in alignment with my values? Did I act out of emotion or reason yesterday? What can I do today to improve myself? This is not an exercise in self-criticism, but in raising awareness and fostering growth. Finally, set an intention for the day. Write down a simple affirmation or commitment based on Stoic virtues, such as wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance. This will act as your moral compass, guiding your actions and decisions throughout the day. Remember, your journal is a mirror of your inner world, a tool, a companion, a teacher. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, one of the most influential Stoic texts, started as his personal journal. It was how he reminded himself of Stoic principles and navigated the complexities of life. Through journaling, we too can better understand our actions and steer through life's challenges with greater clarity. By practicing these Stoic-inspired morning rituals, you not only prepare yourself to face the day with resilience and mindfulness, but you also cultivate a deeper sense of meaning and purpose. The morning becomes a time of quiet reflection, an opportunity to align yourself with what truly matters, and a way to live each day with grace and intention. Third, focus on setting daily intentions rather than goals. While both guide our path, they do so in fundamentally different ways. Goals are future-oriented, aiming toward outcomes, achievements, and results. They give us a specific destination. Intentions, on the other hand, illuminate the journey itself. They act as anchors in the present, deeply rooted in our values and in the person we aspire to become. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. Goals often tie us to external outcomes, which are sometimes beyond our control. No matter how much effort we put in, unforeseen obstacles can arise. Intentions, however, remain firmly within our grasp. They are daily affirmations of our personal values, conscious choices about how we want to navigate the world, regardless of external circumstances. As you start your morning, after clearing your mind through journaling, reflect on the kind of day you wish to experience. Rather than focusing on tasks to accomplish, ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Do you want to be patient, allowing each moment to unfold without rushing through it? Do you want to be compassionate toward yourself and others, recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles? Or perhaps you want to be courageous, facing challenges head-on and stepping outside your comfort zone. Write down these intentions. They might be as simple as, today, I will listen more than I speak, or I will approach conflict with understanding, or I will find moments of calm in the chaos. These are not to-do lists, but reminders of the qualities you aspire to embody. As Seneca wisely said, it's not what you endure, but how you endure it. Intentions serve as our daily compass, guiding our responses, decisions, and actions. More than passive aspirations, they become active choices that shape your day. By setting daily intentions, you commit not to outcomes but to virtues. Success is no longer defined by what you achieve, but by how you act, react, and exist in the world. This shift in perspective aligns deeply with the wisdom of Stoicism, ensuring that no matter what surprises the day may bring, you have a clear vision for your personal journey. Fourth, embrace discomfort. In our modern world, comfort has become a default expectation, a marker of progress. However, the Stoics, in their profound wisdom, recognize that the unchecked pursuit of comfort can become a barrier to personal growth. They believed in deliberately practicing small discomforts as a way to strengthen the mind, nurture resilience, and ensure we are ready to face life's inevitable adversities. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, advised, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" The point here isn't to promote needless suffering, but to break our dependence on external comforts and remind ourselves of our inner strength. As you start your day, consider small ways to voluntarily accept discomfort. Perhaps it's a cold shower to awaken your senses. Not only does this invigorate your physical awareness, but it also serves as a metaphorical cleansing, washing away inertia and reminding you of your capacity to endure and thrive. Or maybe you skip your first cup of coffee, reminding yourself that your willpower and energy come from within, not from external stimulants. You might also consider more reflective practices, such as spending 10 minutes meditating on a past hardship, recognizing the strength you displayed and the growth that emerged from it. Alternatively, you could opt to walk or cycle to work instead of driving, allowing yourself to be fully present in your environment and embracing the effort as a testament to your body's capability. The purpose here is twofold. First, these daily acts of embracing discomfort are like training for the mind and spirit, much like an athlete trains the body. By regularly stepping outside our comfort zone in small ways, we prepare ourselves for life's bigger and more unexpected challenges. Second, they foster a deeper sense of self-reliance and inner strength. When we occasionally forgo comforts, we learn to appreciate them more when we have them, and we understand that they are not the foundation of our happiness or contentment. In adopting this mindset, we cultivate a resilience that helps us meet the unpredictable nature of life with grace. We stop fearing discomfort, knowing that we've trained ourselves to face it, and in doing so, we discover that the true source of our happiness lies within. When you embrace discomfort, you are not punishing yourself. Rather, you are empowering yourself, tapping into a deep inner strength, shedding unnecessary dependencies, and embracing the freedom that Stoicism offers. This freedom comes from the realization that true contentment does not depend on external conditions. Fifth, practice mindfulness and meditation. While Stoicism and mindfulness have different cultural roots, Stoicism from ancient Greece and mindfulness from Eastern traditions, they converge beautifully in their focus on living a centered and meaningful life. Stoics paid close attention to the nature of the present moment. They believed that much of human suffering arises from being either trapped in the past or worrying about the future. As Epictetus wisely stated, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them, highlighting the importance of perception and the power of the present. Begin your morning by carving out space for mindfulness or meditation. This doesn't necessarily mean sitting in a lotus position or chanting, unless that resonates with you. The key is to connect with the present moment and set the tone for the day. Find a quiet corner, choose a comfortable position, and close your eyes, turning your attention inward. Start by simply observing your breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, or the sensation of air passing through your nostrils. Your breath, always present, serves as an anchor to the moment. When your mind inevitably wanders, gently bring your attention back to the breath without judgment. Once you've settled, broaden your awareness to include bodily sensations. Feel the weight of your body on the chair or floor. Notice the temperature of the room, or sense the fabric on your skin. Recognize these sensations without attaching a story to them. They simply are. Next, shift to observing your thoughts and emotions, picturing them as leaves floating on a stream or clouds drifting across the sky. The critical point here is detachment. You are the observer, not the participant. This practice aligns perfectly with Stoicism's emphasis on distinguishing between events and our judgments of them. In the final minutes of meditation, reflect on a Stoic principle or quote. For example, consider Marcus Aurelius's words, "The universe is change, life is what our thoughts make it." Let this wisdom sink into your being, guiding your actions and reactions throughout the day. Incorporating mindfulness and meditation into your morning routine is not just a calming ritual, but a Stoic exercise in appreciating the present, discerning between external events and internal reactions, and fortifying your mind against life's uncertainties. Sixth, revisit the teachings of Stoicism. The profound wisdom contained in Stoic teachings provides an eternal compass for navigating life with grace, resilience, and purpose. However, these teachings are not just words to be read once and forgotten. They are seeds of insight that must be regularly nurtured to grow within us and manifest in our daily actions. Each morning, make it a ritual to immerse yourself in the wisdom of the Stoic masters. This might include the deep reflections of Marcus Aurelius, the enlightening and comforting letters of Seneca, or the practical discourses of Epictetus. Rather than merely skimming through these works like any other book, approach them with reverence and mindfulness. You might start by letting chance guide you, randomly select a passage from a Stoic text, or use a daily Stoic meditation book. This approach often carries a sense of serendipity, as the chosen passage can feel eerily relevant to your current situation or the day ahead. Once you've chosen a passage, take the time to truly immerse yourself in it, reading each word carefully, letting each sentiment resonate deeply. Digest its essence, visualize its message, and reflect on the implications it holds. How does this wisdom relate to your life? What universal truths does it reveal? After this period of reflection, you might choose to write down your thoughts or share them with someone else, using this as a way to solidify and spread your understanding. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it is a way of life, strengthened through daily practice and continuous introspection. Feeling inspired to journal your reflections, writing becomes not just the act of putting pen to paper, but a meditative act, a transformation of ancient knowledge into personal doctrine. Stoicism, when practiced daily, is a living philosophy. Each morning, you engage not just with the words of long-gone philosophers, but with timeless truths that shape how you live, act, and respond to the world. These practices cultivate a deeper connection to your own sense of purpose and foster resilience, ensuring that no matter what life throws your way, you stand firm, anchored in wisdom and virtue. When you write, you might uncover new layers of meaning in Stoic teachings, perhaps by seeing them through the lens of a recent experience, or anticipating how they could apply to an upcoming event. But Stoicism is, at its core, a philosophy of action. So the true culmination of this morning practice lies in applying it to your life. If today's teaching touches on the impermanence of life, let it inspire you to cherish every moment. If it speaks to the unimportance of external opinions, use it as a shield against undue praise or criticism. Every Stoic teaching, in essence, is a call to action, a reminder to infuse your day with virtue and wisdom. If you are fortunate to have companions on your Stoic journey, share these teachings with them. Engaging in discussions, exchanging personal interpretations, and listening to different viewpoints can deepen your understanding and foster a sense of community. Revisiting Stoic teachings each morning is not simply an exercise in reading, but a daily recommitment to living with mindfulness, intention, and virtue. As the Stoics remind us, the true essence of learning lies not just in understanding, but in actualizing and living out that wisdom. 7th, practice amor fati. Within the vast tapestry of Stoic knowledge, there is a golden thread, a profound yet simple principle, amor fati, or love of fate. This is not a call for passive acceptance, but for passionately embracing whatever life brings, joy or sorrow, triumph or struggle. Every morning, as the sun rises to greet a new day, we too face the uncertainties of life. Plans may shift, hopes may falter, or unexpected challenges may arise. In such moments, Stoicism's principle of amor fati invites us not just to accept, but to love everything that comes our way. Imagine the freedom this mindset offers. When confronted with adversity, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you can ask, "How can I grow from this?" Or even affirm, "This is exactly what I need." This shift doesn't lessen the weight of difficulty, but illuminates the positive aspects, the lessons, and the strength that arise from it. To practice amor fati in the morning, spend a few minutes mentally preparing for the day ahead, reflecting on potential challenges you might encounter. Visualize them not as obstacles, but as essential elements of your journey, handpicked by the universe to sharpen and shape your character. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By embracing amor fati, every event, whether minor or monumental, is viewed as a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your life. It's a powerful reminder that we are not mere puppets of fate, but active participants, capable of transforming every circumstance into an opportunity for growth, wisdom, and gratitude. As you step into the new day, carry this philosophy with you. Let amor fati be the compass that guides you through storms with resilience, through sunny days with gratitude, and ever forward with an unshakable love for the journey of life. Stoic wisdom does not demand the suppression of emotions or the adoption of an ascetic life, but rather a deep understanding of existence, a focus on what is within our control, and the building of an inner fortress of peace. These 7 practices offer a structured path, but let Stoicism be flexible in your life, adapting and evolving to meet your personal needs. After all, as Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." Do not become the adversary of your own peace and happiness. Which of these practices will you incorporate into your morning routine? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I am grateful for your company. Until next time, immerse yourself in these Stoic practices and let them transform your mornings, your days, and ultimately, your life. Thank you for watching. If you found this content helpful, please hit like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next video. Let's be real. Most people won't tell you directly if they don't like you. Instead, they'll hide behind fake smiles, empty compliments, and polite indifference. I've been there too. I thought someone was a close friend, only to realize later they secretly wished I'd fail. It's a harsh truth, but if you don't recognize the signs, you'll waste time and energy on people who don't genuinely support you. So let's cut through the noise and talk about how to tell if someone doesn't truly like you, even if they're pretending otherwise. You may not want to hear this, but it's better to face the truth than live in a delusion. A telltale sign is when they constantly joke about your flaws. We all know someone who seems to always be joking, especially when the jokes are at your expense. They'll poke fun at your habits, mistakes, or imperfections, all with a smile and "Oh, I'm just joking." It might seem harmless at first, but don't kid yourself. These jokes often carry an edge. They're subtle digs, carefully disguised as humor, designed to chip away at your self-esteem bit by bit. I remember being close with someone like this. No matter what I did, they had something critical to say: my clothes, my speaking style, even my projects. At first, I laughed it off, assuming it was all in good fun, but over time, I noticed a pattern. The jokes always highlighted my weaknesses, never my strengths. Eventually, I began doubting myself, wondering if these flaws were as big as they made them out to be. That's where the real damage starts. People who regularly joke about your shortcomings aren't doing it because they care. They're testing how much disrespect you'll tolerate. It's a subtle manipulation tactic, a way to assert dominance while keeping you down. They're essentially telling you, "You're beneath me." And the worst part is, they get away with it because society often frames it as your fault if you can't take a joke. But it's time to shift your perspective. There's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself when a joke crosses the line. In fact, it's essential. You deserve to be around people who lift you up, not those who bring you down for a cheap laugh. True friends don't need to point out your flaws to feel better. They celebrate your strengths and help you work through weaknesses without making you the punchline. I've seen this happen countless times. People put up with hurtful jokes just to keep the peace. But when you allow others to disrespect you, even through humor, it's a slippery slope. It starts with minor comments, but over time, these jokes can wear you down, making you question your worth. The more you allow it, the further they'll push until you become a shadow of yourself, just because you didn't want to be seen as too sensitive. I learned this the hard way. When I laughed along, I was giving them permission to continue. I was complicit in my own disrespect. Only when I started pushing back, setting boundaries, did things change, not just in how they treated me, but in how I saw myself. I stopped letting their words define me and began owning my own story. So here's my advice. Next time someone's joke hurts you, don't just brush it off. Ask yourself, is this really funny, or is something else going on here? If the answer leans toward the latter, don't hesitate to confront it. It might be awkward, and it might even end the relationship, but your self-respect is worth more than someone else's twisted sense of humor. At the end of the day, life is too short to spend around people who don't see your value. If their idea of friendship is constantly pointing out your flaws, it might be time to find new friends. Those who truly care will never need to tear you down to feel good about themselves. Stand tall, speak up, and don't let anyone turn you into a joke. And we all know the type. Those compliments that sound like subtle jabs. Trust yourself. You know when it's not sincere. We've all felt that sting when someone gives a compliment that lands with a touch of bitterness, like being patted on the back with a velvet glove hiding a thorn. It's the type of compliment that makes you pause, thinking, wait, was that really praise, or more of a disguised jab? Here's the tough truth. Often, it's both. These backhanded compliments are a subtle way for people to diminish you under the guise of friendliness. I remember once pouring my heart into a big project I was really proud of. After countless hours of hard work, I shared it with a group of colleagues. Someone I thought was an ally said with a smile, "Wow, this is actually pretty good for someone like you." I was speechless. At first, it sounded like praise, but that phrase "for someone like you" hit like a slap. What was that supposed to mean? Was I not capable of producing something good? This is a frustrating reality about these comments. They're not about building you up. They're about keeping you in your place. It's a power play, a way for the person giving the compliment to assert superiority, leaving you questioning your own abilities. They're indirectly telling you, "I see you're trying, but you'll never really measure up." It's insidious, wrapped in such a charming package that it's easy to miss the toxic punch beneath the surface. And let's be honest, those who give backhanded compliments are usually not secure in themselves. They see your potential, they notice your strengths, and it unsettles them. So they use these small, sneaky put-downs to keep you doubting yourself, to make sure you don't fly too high. It's like they're patting your back with one hand while pushing you down with the other. And here's the more controversial part. Sometimes we've all done this ourselves, consciously or not. We've all had those moments when our own insecurities slip out in the form of a compliment that's really more about reminding others of their place. The important takeaway here is that you don't have to accept this kind of veiled hostility. You have the right to call it out for what it is, a reflection of someone else's insecurities, not a measure of your worth. When someone says, "You're smarter than you look," or "This is pretty good," especially since you're just starting, you don't have to just smile and accept it. Don't be afraid to confront it, even if it makes things a bit awkward. If you don't, you're giving them power over how you see yourself, a power you should never hand over to anyone else. I've learned to see these comments for what they are, a mirror reflecting the other person's insecurity. Seeing it that way robs it of its sting. Instead of letting it erode your confidence, you can almost laugh it off, because, in the end, their words say much more about them than about you. So, what do I do now when I receive a backhanded compliment? I don't let it slide. I respond with something like, "Thanks, but what did you mean by that?" It forces them to confront the real meaning behind their words, and often they'll be taken aback. They quickly realize you're not playing along with their game, and their attitude usually shifts. Remember, don't let someone's hidden negativity define you, whether it's from someone you thought was a friend, a jealous coworker, or even a family member. Your worth isn't for others to determine. A compliment should lift you up, not pull you down. If someone's words leave you doubting yourself, then it's time to question their intentions instead. Life's too short to waste on people who can't sincerely celebrate your achievements. Surround yourself with people who see your worth and who express it without any strings attached. And let's not ignore those times when you're left out of events, parties, or gatherings, the times they claim were last minute, or that they thought you were too busy. Let's be real. These aren't coincidences. This is exclusion dressed up as thoughtlessness, and it's a clear sign you aren't valued as much as you may have thought. I've been there too, scrolling through my phone on a weekend, only to see photos of a group of friends having a great time at an event I'd wanted to attend. Yet no one had mentioned it to me. When I brought it up later, they had all sorts of excuses. "Oh, we thought you'd be busy," or "It was a last-minute thing." But deep down, I knew the truth. If they genuinely wanted me there, they would have made sure I knew about it. The problem is, society teaches us to make excuses for people who exclude us. We tell ourselves, it's no big deal, or it's probably not personal. But let's call it what it is personal. When people continuously leave you out, it's because they've made a choice about your place in their life. They don't see you as a significant part of the group, and that hurts. The hard truth is that we've become accustomed to accepting busy as a reasonable excuse for being sidelined. But let's be honest, People always make time for what and who they care about. If someone is always busy when it comes to you, it's not about scheduling, it's about priorities. This can be difficult to accept because it forces us to confront a reality where we may not matter to them as much as we thought. The bitter truth is that busy is often just a polite way of saying, I don't want to make time for you. It's easier for them to blame their schedule than to admit they're choosing not to include you in their life. This is their passive way of keeping you at arm's length without having to deal with the discomfort of being honest. They keep you in limbo, treating you like a backup plan without ever truly investing in the relationship. I've been on both sides of this dynamic. There have been times when I was the one making excuses because I didn't know how to tell someone that the friendship no longer felt meaningful. But being the one left out taught me an important lesson. It's better to be honest, however awkward, than to let relationships drag on with flimsy excuses. When I finally confronted a friend who was always too busy, the conversation was uncomfortable but necessary. It gave me the clarity I needed to move on and put my time and energy into relationships where I was genuinely valued. The deeper takeaway here is that your time is precious, and so is your energy. Don't waste them on people who can't be bothered to make time for you. If someone is always too busy to meet up or include you, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. You deserve to be around people who genuinely want to spend time with you, who make the effort to include you in their lives, not just when it's convenient, but because they value your presence. We need to recognize that people change, and relationships do too. Sometimes we hold on to people out of habit, nostalgia, or fear of loneliness, even when it's clear they're ready to move on. But there's strength in letting go and accepting that you deserve more than someone's leftover time. This isn't asking for too much. It's valuing yourself enough to let go of people who don't value you. There's also another sign to watch out for: when they roll their eyes or act dismissive when you speak. You know that feeling when you're in a group, sharing your thoughts, and all you get back are eye rolls or dismissive glances? It's like a punch to the gut. These small gestures reveal a lot. They're clear indicators that not only are they uninterested in what you have to say, but they're actively trying to undermine you. I've been in situations where I shared my thoughts on a subject I cared about, only to be met with eye rolls and sarcastic comments. At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe I was just being sensitive. But over time, I realized it wasn't accidental. It was a subtle form of rejection, a way to keep me in a lesser role without saying it outright. So, what should you do when faced with situations like these? Don't just accept it as a given. Stand firm in your worth, and remember that people who truly value you would never make you feel lesser. Invest your time in people who don't hesitate to show they value you, not just in words, but in actions, no matter how challenging it may be. Over time, I came to realize these reactions were more than just differences of opinion. They were subtle signals, a way for others to show the room that my perspective wasn't worth respecting. Eye rolls or dismissive gestures are quiet, but powerful acts of disrespect. They allow someone to belittle you without uttering a word, shaking your confidence under the guise of harmless fun. Here's the controversial part. Many people brush off these gestures, telling themselves it's just how that person is. But in reality, these behaviors are toxic, and they can deeply impact your self-worth. Here's the key point. People who roll their eyes or smirk are often projecting their own insecurities. They may feel threatened by your confidence, knowledge, or ability to communicate, and instead of engaging with you on equal ground, they choose to bring you down. This act reasserts their sense of power, and unfortunately, it's often effective. When you're repeatedly met with dismissive glances and sneers, it can gradually erode your self-confidence and make you question your worth. I've learned to face these behaviors directly. The next time someone rolls their eyes while I'm speaking, I call it out. Did you just roll your eyes? What did you mean by that? This forces them to confront their behavior and reconsider their actions. More importantly, it reminds me that I won't tolerate disrespect. So remember this. Don't let anyone undermine your voice or your value. Eye-rolling and disdainful expressions are signs that someone is trying to assert their dominance, and you have every right to challenge it. Surround yourself with people who respect your opinions, value your contributions, and uplift rather than diminish you. Life is too short to spend with people who can't appreciate your strengths. There's another subtle sign worth mentioning. When someone avoids physical contact with you, as if it's contagious. Let's be real. Physical contact, or more specifically, the absence of it, isn't just relevant in romantic relationships. It's a fundamental part of human interaction, a way we connect and build trust. So what does it mean when someone deliberately avoids even the slightest touch? The answer isn't pleasant. They're sending you a clear signal that they're uncomfortable around you, and you need to pay attention to that. I remember working with a colleague who would pull back whenever I extended a hand for a handshake or went for a friendly pat on the back. Initially, I thought it was in my head, but then I noticed they were warm and comfortable with others. Yet with me, it was as if I carried some invisible boundary they couldn't cross. Eventually, I understood that this wasn't just a habit. It was a deliberate choice to maintain distance. The issue here is that physical touch is a natural part of human communication. When someone avoids it with you specifically, they're conveying discomfort or a lack of connection. Sure, some people dislike physical contact in general, and that's perfectly valid. But if this aversion is selective, if they're relaxed and affectionate with others, but tense and closed off with you, that's a sign something is off. They may not dislike you enough to outright say it, but their body language tells you everything. Let's be honest, we've all experienced this on both sides. Maybe you've avoided a handshake or leaned back when someone came too close because you simply weren't comfortable. Or perhaps you've been the one being avoided, wondering why someone always seemed to shrink back when you were around. It's uncomfortable, even awkward, and it often points to a relationship that isn't as strong as you might think. The deeper truth is that physical touch is a key element in human bonding. It's how we express trust, warmth, and empathy. When someone avoids it with you, they're not just refusing to touch you, they're avoiding closeness, intimacy, and vulnerability. They're keeping you at a literal and metaphorical distance, and that's a clear sign the relationship isn't what you thought it was. I've learned to pay attention to these signs, even when it's hard to accept what they mean. There was a time when I ignored these signs, convincing myself that someone's avoidance of closeness was just part of their personality. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it wasn't about them. It was about me and the nature of our relationship. When I finally chose to confront the situation, it led to difficult conversations, and in some cases, to the end of certain relationships. Yet it also freed me from the constant second-guessing about why things felt off. The underlying message here is not to ignore the signs. When someone avoids even casual physical contact, it's not just a personal preference. It's a statement about their level of comfort and connection with you. If this happens repeatedly, don't be afraid to face it. It may lead to deeper understanding, or it may reveal that the relationship isn't as strong as you believed. Either way, it's better to face the truth than to live in denial. You deserve relationships where closeness isn't awkward or avoided, but natural and comfortable. Whether it's a friendly hug, a handshake, or just sitting next to each other without tension, these small gestures build trust and connection. If someone continually avoids these, it's a sign that something is amiss. Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions, and if necessary, make the tough decisions. Life is too short to be surrounded by people who keep you at arm's length, both literally and figuratively. Now let's talk about another sign, when someone disappears when you need support. Let's be realistic. Nothing reveals the true nature of a relationship like a crisis. When things get hard, that's when you learn who your real friends are. So what does it say about someone if they vanish just when you need them most? This isn't just a sign of inconsistency. It's a glaring warning that they don't care for you as much as you thought. And let's face it, When someone ghosts you during tough times, it's not only painful but feels like a betrayal. I learned this the hard way during a particularly difficult period in my life. I was dealing with a personal crisis that cut deeply. Naturally, I reached out to close friends, expecting at least a supportive message or a quick check-in. But guess what? Silence. Those I thought would be there had every excuse ready. I'm swamped. Sorry, I've been so busy lately. I'll check in with you soon. But here's the thing. They never did. Here's the controversial part. Everyone loves to say they'll always be there for you. But when things turn sour, many people only show up when life is good. They'll happily party with you, laugh with you, and enjoy your successes. But the moment things get hard, they're nowhere to be found. It's far easier for them to ignore your struggles than to face your pain or discomfort. They don't want to be drawn into your problems because, deep down, they don't care enough to be there when it actually matters. Let's be blunt. Real support isn't about convenience. It's about showing up when things are tough, when it's uncomfortable, and when it's the last thing you want to do. Those who vanish when you need them most aren't just showing carelessness. They're making it clear that you hold little value in their life. They're subtly telling you, your problems aren't worth my time. I remember the utter disappointment of realizing that those I'd once stood by, through their breakups, family troubles, and career failures, couldn't return the same sincerity. It was a harsh wake-up call, but also a lesson I needed to learn. Not everyone who smiles with you is truly on your side. The deeper takeaway is that support is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's easy to show up when everything is going well, but the real test of any relationship is how people respond when things get difficult. Those who genuinely care will never abandon you when you need them most. If someone disappears in your time of need, they're not just letting you down, they're showing they were never truly present in your life to begin with. Don't let someone's absence make you bitter. Let it make you stronger. Think of it as a filter, helping you remove people who don't truly belong in your life. Those who stick around, check in, and show up even when it's inconvenient are the ones who truly matter, and those are the relationships worth cherishing and nurturing. In the end, life is too short to invest in fair-weather friends who only show up when the skies are clear. Surround yourself with people who will stand by you through the storms, not just when the sun is shining. Because when you find those rare people who are willing to stay through the rough times, you've found something worth holding on to. For those who choose to walk away, let them go. They've already shown you their true nature. Now, let's talk about people who talk behind your back. Gossip is like social poison. It spreads faster than wildfire and can destroy relationships in an instant. The thing about gossip is that it's never as harmless as people think. When someone you consider a friend talks about you behind your back, they're not just sharing some idle story. They're actively trying to undermine your trust, reputation, and relationships. And let's be honest, when they gossip about you, it's a clear sign of basic disrespect for who you are. I once had a friend who seemed supportive on the surface, but loved to share my personal details as if they were public knowledge. It didn't take long before I started hearing rumors about things they'd told others, people I barely knew. It was a painful reality check that left me feeling betrayed and vulnerable. This person wasn't just sharing my personal life, they were twisting it, painting a negative picture and creating a barrier between me and others. Here's the controversial part. Gossip is a toxic behavior, often rooted in deeper insecurities. When someone feels the need to talk behind your back instead of confronting you, it reflects their own issues, not yours. They're projecting their own fears, jealousy, or insecurities onto you, crafting a story that suits their agenda. So what do you do when you find out someone's been spreading rumors about you? You face it. I know it's uncomfortable, but ignoring the situation only gives it more power. When I finally confronted that friend, the conversation was intense, but it revealed so much about their character. It turned out they were dealing with their own insecurities and felt threatened by my accomplishments. Instead of having an open conversation with me, They chose to tear me down behind my back. The deeper message here is that gossip is a sign that someone is not truly your friend. Real friends lift you up. They don't quietly tear you down. If someone is spreading rumors about you, it's time to reassess their place in your life. You deserve relationships built on trust, loyalty, and open communication, not betrayal and petty backtalk. And remember, even if you're the subject of rumors, don't let them define you. People will talk, but your value is not determined by their opinions or stories. Focus on the relationships that truly matter, the ones grounded in mutual respect and genuine support. When you surround yourself with authentic people, the gossip fades into the background, and what remains is the strength of true friendship. So don't let someone's backstabbing affect you. Face it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Life is too short to waste time on people who can't stop mentioning you in a negative light. Seek out those who will celebrate your successes and lift you up, not those who only bring you down. Real friends will be there to encourage and defend you, and those are the relationships worth treasuring. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to dislike you immediately, even though you've done nothing to provoke them? It feels as though no matter what you do, there's always someone who looks at you with disdain or hostility. The question of why certain people simply hate us is a mystery that isn't always tied to our actions or words. Sometimes, the reason behind such negativity lies deeper, embedded in complex psychological factors like jealousy or misunderstandings. Understanding this phenomenon isn't just a matter of curiosity, it's essential for navigating the intricate social dynamics we encounter every day. In this video, we will explore 9 reasons why people may develop strong negative feelings towards us. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank you for your ongoing support. Creating these videos brings me immense joy, and it's even more fulfilling to read your kind comments. I go through all of them. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so YouTube can recommend this video to others like you. Now, are you ready to embark on this transformative journey of understanding? Let's get started. First, let's talk about jealousy and envy. These two emotions are some of the most profound and common reasons why someone might harbor resentment toward you. Jealousy and envy act like a poison in human relationships, capable of turning admiration into contempt and respect into hatred. They often arise when someone sees qualities in you that they wish they had but believe they can't attain. This can be triggered by many things, from career success and personal achievements to your personality traits or lifestyle. In many cases, jealousy and envy reflect dissatisfaction that a person feels about their own life. Rather than drawing inspiration from your success or feeling happy for you, they see your qualities and accomplishments as a mirror reflecting their own shortcomings or misfortune. This feeling can evolve into deep resentment, leading them to hope for your downfall or to experience some sort of failure in an attempt to soothe their own discomfort or dissatisfaction. What's most damaging about jealousy and envy is that they can push the person feeling these emotions into behaviors like gossip, slander, or even sabotage, all aimed at undermining your efforts and achievements. They may try to discredit your work or spread false narratives about your character, hoping to knock you down from the position they believe you occupy. It's crucial to remember that jealousy and envy are their problems, not yours. While it's easy to internalize someone's hatred and begin to question yourself or assign blame to your actions, you're not responsible for their insecurities or discontent. Your accomplishments and traits shouldn't be diminished just because someone else can't deal with their own inner issues. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't worry about what's beyond your control." The jealousy or envy that others direct toward you is clearly out of your control, and Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, and your responses. Understanding that jealousy and envy are often the root cause of the hatred some people feel towards you can help you navigate these complex interactions. Knowing how to face these negative emotions with maturity and composure, without letting them affect you, is a key skill in maintaining your peace of mind and continuing on your personal and professional growth. Now let's move to misunderstandings and poor communication. Often, what begins as a minor or insignificant event can evolve into the source of deep and lasting grudges. At the heart of these misunderstandings, there are often misinterpretations or a lack of clarity in how we express ourselves or how others perceive our words. Misunderstandings arise when there's a disconnect between how we intend to communicate and how others receive our message. This can lead to unintended negative thoughts, which escalate into conflict. Understanding the mechanisms behind misunderstandings and the way communication works can help us prevent or resolve unnecessary disputes. It's about learning to express yourself clearly and also being mindful of how others might interpret your words. Developing effective communication skills not only helps you avoid conflict, but also fosters stronger, more positive relationships in every area of your life. When there's a gap in how information is interpreted, it's crucial to clarify and proactively explain your intentions to avoid escalating unnecessary negative emotions. The intent behind a message and how it is received can be completely different. A misplaced word, a misunderstood tone, or even a subtle facial expression can be enough to create a false impression. These small communication mishaps can lead to misjudgments about someone's intentions or attitudes, causing others to believe you are disrespectful, indifferent, or even hostile. Ineffective communication also plays a significant role in building emotional barriers and misunderstandings. This often happens when we don't convey our thoughts and feelings clearly, leaving room for incorrect assumptions. In many other cases, failure to practice active listening or truly understand the other person's perspective can lead to mistaken assumptions and misjudgments, fostering a breeding ground for negative emotions. When people feel misunderstood or believe they've been misinterpreted, they can begin to develop animosity based on these failed communication experiences. What started as a small misunderstanding can grow and morph into hostility, often unrelated to the reality of the situation or the relationship. Recognizing the importance of misunderstandings and poor communication as sources of negative emotions is essential to avoid unjustified hatred. We need to strive for clear, open, and sincere communication in all interactions. Additionally, it's important to give others the benefit of the doubt and seek clarification when ambiguity arises. By doing so, we can avoid unnecessary resentment and maintain healthier, more positive interpersonal relationships. Another significant factor is the difference in fundamental values and beliefs. We live in a diverse world where each individual is shaped by a unique set of values and beliefs that guide their perceptions, decisions, and behaviors. When these values clash with others, it can be the starting point for disagreements and ultimately hatred. Value differences can range from political or religious views to ideas about work ethics or lifestyle choices. When someone believes that their values are absolutely correct or superior, anyone with a different set of beliefs may be viewed as an adversary or a threat. The us versus them mentality is a common source of conflict between individuals and can quickly turn disagreements into disdain. Furthermore, when someone's beliefs are deeply ingrained, any challenge to those beliefs is often perceived as a personal attack. This can trigger a strong defensive reaction, leading to hostility toward the person representing that perceived threat. In such situations, the conflict is no longer just about differing opinions, but becomes a battle between identities and worldviews. These differences can also lead to prejudice and hasty judgments. When people don't make an effort to understand someone else's perspective and instead resort to generalizing, they create barriers that block empathy and mutual understanding. These judgments can turn into hatred, especially when fueled by unacknowledged fears or biases. In Stoic philosophy, this idea is emphasized, suggesting that personal beliefs and values are products of individual experiences and perceptions. Epicurus, one of the prominent philosophers associated with Stoicism, would remind us that each of us is a product of our upbringing and environment. In this sense, it's natural for people to have different values and beliefs. Encouraging open dialogue, tolerance, and respect for differences not only prevents hatred, but also enriches our own experience and understanding of the world. Accepting that not everyone will share our views, and that this is perfectly normal, is a crucial step toward harmonious coexistence in a pluralistic society. Additionally, the impact of rumors and gossip is another critical factor that contributes to the development of hatred. Rumors, often spread by third parties, are usually inaccurate or distorted, but they have a powerful influence on how we perceive others. Even if untrue, once a rumor is out there, it can change how someone is viewed, leading to mistrust, resentment, or outright animosity. The ease with which false information can spread, especially in today's age of social media and instant communication, means that many people form opinions based on incomplete or misleading data. This is why it's essential to question the validity of what we hear and avoid letting gossip dictate our relationships. By challenging these influences and promoting more direct, honest interactions, we can foster healthier, more authentic connections free from the destructive effects of misinformation. Rumors and gossip act like wildfire, fueling misunderstandings and spreading suspicion among people. When rumors are exaggerated, driven by malice, or simply a desire to stir curiosity, they can cause immense harm. They have the power to unfairly alter how others perceive you, often in ways that are irreversible. Gossip spreads like a virus in social circles, quickly tainting the opinions of others before you even have a chance to present the truth. Once a rumor takes root, it can grow and distort reality, creating a false image of who you truly are. This becomes especially damaging when rumors touch on negative or sensitive aspects of your life or character. The problem with rumors is that even when they are baseless, they can still be incredibly persuasive. People tend to believe what they hear, particularly when a rumor aligns with their pre-existing doubts or biases. Moreover, the forbidden or sensational nature of gossip makes it all the more enticing, increasing its likelihood to spread. The dissemination of false or misleading information creates a toxic environment where you are judged and condemned without evidence or fairness. The consequences of these rumors can range from social isolation and the loss of friendships to more severe impacts on your personal life and career. Hatred born from rumors is among the hardest to deal with, as you're not fighting against reality, but against a distorted version of yourself. It's important to recognize the powerful role that rumors play in shaping the hatred people may feel toward you. While it can be challenging, confronting these rumors with truth and maintaining your integrity despite the lies is essential. Remember, your sincerity and honesty are your strongest weapons against the poison of gossip. Trusting in your own truth and fostering transparency in your relationships will help dispel the lies and rebuild your reputation in the eyes of others. In the long run, truth and integrity will always outlast falsehoods and malicious intent. Another factor worth mentioning is personal insecurity and emotional transference. This is a complex and often overlooked reality, but it plays a crucial role in the dynamics of hatred between individuals. When personal insecurities are not faced and overcome, they can evolve into jealousy, resentment, and eventually hatred toward those who don't appear to share the same weaknesses or shortcomings. Fears and insecurities can arise from various sources, such as past experiences, perceived failures, or social comparisons. As Seneca noted, when someone feels insecure, they may unconsciously project those emotions onto others, especially those who seem to represent the opposite of their insecurities. For example, if someone feels inadequate in their career, they may develop resentment toward a colleague who is thriving and advancing. This transference of insecurity works as a psychological defense mechanism, an attempt to cope with internal feelings of inadequacy. Instead of confronting and working through their own insecurities, some people find it easier to channel their frustration and negativity onto others. This process can lead to feelings of hatred when the person sees you as a constant reminder of their struggles and shortcomings. Another dimension of this dynamic is the sense of threat that your achievements or qualities might pose to someone with deep-seated insecurities. Instead of viewing your success as a source of inspiration, these individuals may see it as a reflection of what they lack, triggering a negative emotional response. They feel as though their own position or self-image is being threatened or diminished. It's important to understand that personal insecurities and the resulting hatred are not caused by your actions or who you are, but rather are expressions of the internal battles the other person is facing. Understanding this can help you avoid taking their negative feelings personally and maintain a healthy perspective in your interactions. Recognizing that the root of their hatred lies within their own struggles allows you to stay grounded and focus on managing your relationships with compassion and self-assurance. Recognizing this dynamic can be a crucial first step in approaching such feelings with compassion and empathy. Understanding that another person's insecurities are not your fault allows you to safeguard your mental well-being and maintain stability in your social relationships. Empathy and understanding play vital roles in dispelling misunderstandings and creating a more positive environment. In an ideal world, empathy and mutual understanding would drive our daily interactions. However, one of the most obvious reasons someone may harbor feelings of hatred is the absence of these essential qualities. A lack of empathy manifests in an inability to place oneself in another's shoes, to feel what they are experiencing, or to understand their motivations and reactions. When someone lacks empathy, their interpretations and responses to other people's actions can be severely distorted, leading them to feel offended where no offense was intended, and misinterpret genuine intentions. This often results in deep resentment based on misunderstandings. A lack of understanding is frequently exacerbated by preconceived notions, hasty judgments, and a limited ability to appreciate context and nuance. People lacking empathy often tend to view the world in a black and white way, which leads to unfair and inaccurate assessments of others. Their judgments are frequently based on assumptions or superficial observations, rather than any real effort to understand the other person's situation. This lack of empathy and understanding can also stem from selfishness. Self-centered individuals are often so focused on their own concerns that they struggle to recognize or appreciate the experiences and emotions of others. This selfishness can turn into apathy, leading them to dismiss others' challenges or successes with indifference or even disdain. Such attitudes are easily perceived as hostile or even hateful. Recognizing that a lack of empathy or understanding is one of the causes of hatred can be crucial for handling these situations. It's important to remember that, in many cases, the hatred someone feels towards you reflects more about their emotional limitations than anything you've done. Understanding this can help you approach conflicts with a more balanced perspective, aiming to build bridges of understanding where possible, or to protect yourself from emotional harm when necessary. Another key factor to consider is competition or rivalry. Relationships often rooted in competition and constant comparison can become a powerful source of negative emotions. When competition or rivalry intensifies, it can morph into hatred that goes beyond mere dispute and turns into an obsession. Competition and rivalry are common in many aspects of life, whether at work, in social circles, or even within families. Often, healthy competition can be a driving force for personal growth and improvement. However, when competition becomes obsessive, or when rivalry stems from insecurities, jealousy, or past grievances, it can degenerate into a strong desire to see the other person fail. The shift from competition to hatred usually occurs when someone feels overshadowed or undermined by another. Instead of focusing on surpassing their own limits or achieving their goals, the focus shifts to defeating or devaluing the other person. This feeling intensifies when one believes that the other's accomplishments or recognition are undeserved, or have taken away an opportunity that should have been theirs. Additionally, as Marcus Aurelius observed, heightened competition can lead to destructive behaviors such as slander, sabotage, or personal attacks. The need to win at any cost can erode a sense of morality and fairness, leading to actions aimed directly at harming others. These actions not only hurt the targeted individual, but also erode the character and integrity of the person engaging in them. Identifying competition and rivalry as potential sources of hatred is key to understanding the nature of these relationships. By recognizing these emotions in others or ourselves, we can work to turn competition into cooperation, or at least learn how to compete in a healthy and respectful way. Remembering that someone else's success doesn't diminish your value, and that there's enough space for everyone to succeed, can be a powerful antidote to the hatred that stems from competition and rivalry. Thank you for watching. If you found the content helpful, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. See you in the next one. Have you ever felt like you're living in a world full of actors? I definitely have. Every day, it seems like people wear masks, pretending to be someone they're not. The fascinating part, though, is that once you learn to see through these performances, you begin to notice all the fake behaviors right in front of you. I remember sitting in a meeting where everyone was nodding and smiling, but beneath those smiles were hidden agendas. It's all about the little signs, the silences, the brief pauses. Trust me, once you pick up on these cues, you'll never see people the same way again. You'll start to uncover what they're really hiding. One technique that helps uncover what's beneath the surface is what I call the tell me more method. It's like having a superpower without needing to wear a cape. The best part? Nobody realizes you're even using it. It's simple, yet incredibly effective. Just stay calm, listen intently, and when someone is passionately telling their story, instead of interrupting or arguing, you simply say 3 words, tell me more. I stumbled upon this trick years ago during a debate over whether pineapple belongs on pizza. I was all set to counter every argument my friend made, but instead, I just smiled and said, tell me more. What happened next was surprising. The conversation, which started with pizza, gradually turned into stories about childhood meals, favorite dishes, and even a strange tale about why they've hated pineapple since they were a kid. It stopped being about pizza and turned into a deep exploration of their inner world, all sparked by those 3 simple words. The key here is that when people feel truly listened to, they lower their defenses. When they don't feel the need to argue or push back, they reveal more than they ever intended. You create a safe space, one where they feel comfortable letting go of their usual protective shields. They think they're just chatting, but in reality, they're exposing their motivations, fears, insecurities, and even hopes without even realizing it. I've used this technique in business meetings, with friends, even with people who were clearly being secretive. Once, during a negotiation, instead of pushing my agenda, I just kept saying, tell me more. By the end, the other side had revealed their entire strategy, explaining why they desperately needed a deal. It was as if they handed me the keys to their plan, and all I did was listen. It felt almost too easy, but the deeper truth is that this isn't just a tactic to gather information or win an argument. It's a way to connect. In a world where everyone is quick to speak but slow to listen, tell me more becomes a gateway to understanding others on a deeper level. It forces you to step outside your ego, stop planning what you'll say next, and truly care about the other person's perspective. When you ask someone to explain without judgment, you give them a rare gift, the feeling of being truly heard. And in that moment, you build trust, understanding, and sometimes even healing. This approach echoes a core lesson from Stoicism: empathy without attachment. You're not trying to manipulate or control the conversation. You're simply observing, understanding, and remaining calm. It's not about reading people, but seeing who they truly are and giving them the space to reveal their authentic selves. Next time you find yourself in a conversation, whether it's a casual chat, a negotiation, or even a heated debate, try using the "tell me more" technique. You'll be amazed at the depth of the conversation, what people will reveal, and how easy it becomes to truly understand them without having to push. Beyond winning conversations, you'll find that this approach fosters genuine connections, built on respect and sincere curiosity. That's the real power, seeing others for who they are, and through that, learning more about yourself. There's another subtle but revealing behavior to observe: how people treat those in lower positions. If you truly want to know someone's character, don't just watch how they treat you. Look at how they interact with those they consider beneath them. This may sound controversial, but it exposes a harsh reality about human nature. Whether it's a waiter at a restaurant, a cashier at the grocery store, or a subordinate at work, how someone behaves towards people with less power speaks volumes about who they are. I learned this lesson the hard way. I once worked with someone who seemed to be the nicest person, funny, charming, always polite in meetings. But one day, we went out to lunch together, and I saw a completely different side of them. As soon as we sat down, they were immediately rude to the server, ordering as if they were royalty and the server beneath them. I was shocked to see them shift from friendly and warm to arrogant and condescending in an instant. It was a wake-up call, and I realized this wasn't a momentary lapse, but a reflection of their true nature. Their kindness was selective, only shown when it served their own interests. People often reveal their real selves when there's no need to pretend. Small actions speak louder than words, offering insights words alone cannot convey. Observing how they treat others can give you a clearer sense of their values and integrity. They think no one important is watching, but if they treat a server with disdain, they'll likely do the same to anyone they deem unable to fight back. If they belittle a colleague simply because they hold a lower position, that arrogance and lack of respect will undoubtedly surface in other areas of life as well. Someone who is kind to you but rude to others isn't truly kind. They're calculating. Think about it. When there's no social pressure to be polite, and they know they can get away with treating others poorly, that's when their true self emerges. Stoicism teaches us to observe human behavior objectively, and this is one of the clearest signs of someone's character. It's easy to be nice when there's something to gain, but a person's real nature is exposed when they have nothing to lose. I've applied this principle to friendships, work relationships, and even dating. For me, it's become a sort of silent test. If someone treats a janitor with respect, says thank you to a bus driver, or shows kindness to a stranger, they're worth getting to know. But if they are unnecessarily harsh or dismissive, that's a major red flag not to be ignored. It's worth noting that how we treat others reflects how we see ourselves. People who respect everyone, regardless of status, often possess inner confidence. They don't need to push others down to feel important. On the other hand, those who are cruel or condescending are often projecting their own insecurities, trying to elevate themselves by standing on those they see as weaker. This kind of arrogance is something Stoicism warns us to recognize and avoid within ourselves. So, if you want to understand who someone truly is, don't be fooled by how they treat people they need to impress. Instead, pay attention to how they treat those who can offer them nothing in return. That's the most accurate way to see past the mask and into the core of who they really are. Another key to understanding someone lies in their past. If you want to know who someone really is, you need to look deeper into where they've come from. People often say that the past is behind us, but the truth is, it never fully goes away. It continues to shape everything about them in the present, whether they realize it or not. Their experiences, traumas, victories, and relationships all influence the way they think, act, and even how they treat you now. This idea can be controversial because it suggests that people don't just move on from their past, but rather, they carry it with them as a blueprint for their current actions. I once had a friend who seemed anxious all the time, no matter the situation. They were easily defensive, quick to anger, and extremely cautious in relationships. At first, I thought this was just their personality, but as I got to know them better, I learned about their past. They had been deeply betrayed by people they trusted, gone through financial struggles, and grew up in an environment where they constantly had to prove themselves. Slowly, these pieces started to connect. Their defensiveness wasn't random. It was a direct result of feeling the need to protect themselves from further harm. Their past experiences left marks, sometimes scars, that explained why they acted the way they did. A person who grew up emotionally neglected might seek attention more aggressively as an adult. Someone who's been burned by a business partner might struggle to trust anyone looking to collaborate with them. But the point isn't to excuse their behavior. It's to understand that they're not always acting from the present, but reacting to echoes of the past. Stoicism teaches us to see things as they are, without judgment, and understanding someone's history is part of seeing them clearly. I've seen this in romantic relationships too. Partners often bring emotional baggage into their current relationships, unknowingly letting past wounds influence how they engage with one another. Have you ever dated someone who seemed perfectly normal at first, only to notice certain fixed behaviors emerging over time? Maybe they were overly jealous or struggled with commitment. In 9 out of 10 cases, if you dig deep enough, you'll find that past relationships have left scars they haven't fully healed from. It's often the fear of being hurt again that drives their behavior in the present. Understanding this doesn't mean you have to tolerate toxic actions, but it gives you valuable insight into why they act the way they do. The harsh truth is that many people live their lives stuck in loops, repeating behaviors learned from past experiences. It's as if they're trapped, reliving old patterns without even realizing it. A colleague who constantly seeks approval might be reenacting a childhood where they never felt good enough. A friend who sabotages every relationship may be reacting to a deeply ingrained fear of abandonment from early life experiences. Humans are products of their history, and once you understand that, you begin to see their actions in a completely different light. But there's another side to this. Just because someone has a troubled past doesn't mean they're doomed to repeat it. One of the most beautiful aspects of human nature is our ability to change. Growth and learning are essential, and Stoicism emphasizes the power of self-awareness and transformation. Recognizing how the past shapes the present is the first step toward breaking free from its hold. When you start to read people, don't just focus on the present. Look for patterns, echoes from their past, because everything is connected. The more you understand what someone has been through, the clearer their current behavior will become. This understanding not only helps you adjust your relationship with them, but can also help them break free from those cycles. If you can gently point out the patterns they're repeating, you might help them become more self-aware, allowing them to confront what they've been avoiding for years. Stoicism encourages self-reflection and improvement, and sometimes understanding someone's past will enable you to guide them towards self-betterment. It's easy to judge someone based solely on their current behavior, but the past holds the key to understanding the reasons behind those actions. When you begin to view people's actions as reactions to their history, you can approach them with greater empathy while also protecting yourself from getting caught up in their unresolved issues. In short, the past is always present. To truly understand someone, you need to see the full picture, not just the chapter they're living in right now. One major sign that someone is lying or hiding something is a sudden change in their tone of voice. Most people don't realize it, but our voices often reflect what's going on inside us. When someone speaks confidently, their tone is steady, their pace consistent, and their words flow naturally. But when dishonesty or uncertainty creeps in, everything shifts, sometimes subtly, sometimes obviously. It's like their subconscious is trying to send out warning signals, hoping you'll catch on. I had a colleague who always knew how to charm, saying exactly the right things with a constant upbeat tone. But one day, when we were discussing a project deadline, something shifted. His normally cheerful and confident voice suddenly flattened. His words slowed, and he almost seemed hesitant. Instantly, I felt something was off, and sure enough, he hadn't made any progress on the project and was trying to cover it up. The change in tone was the giveaway. He wasn't being truthful, and it showed in the way he spoke. Why does this happen? When people lie or feel uncomfortable with what they're saying, their body and mind enter a state of conflict. The brain is trying to maintain the lie or conceal insecurity, but the body, especially the voice, struggles not to reveal the tension. This might show up as a higher pitch, a crack in the voice, or even a slight hesitation. It's as if the tone doesn't quite match the words. Think back to the last time you caught someone in a lie. How did their voice sound? Did they suddenly speak quieter, or maybe a little faster? Perhaps their tone became overly cheerful, as if they were trying too hard to seem normal. These are all signs that something isn't right. Changes in tone are the mind's way of signaling discomfort, whether it's from dishonesty, hiding something, or simply feeling uncertain. When you learn to tune into these subtle shifts, you gain a powerful tool for understanding the deeper truths people might not want to reveal. It's not just about catching lies. A sudden change in someone's tone can also signal hesitation or a lack of confidence. I once had a friend who was always enthusiastic about the plans we made, but the moment I suggested something she wasn't fully on board with, her tone would shift instantly. She'd go from excited to flat, almost like someone flipped a switch. That was always my cue to know that, despite what her words said, she wasn't entirely in agreement. This phenomenon happens in relationships, business negotiations, and even casual conversations. You've probably experienced it when someone's cheerful and friendly demeanor suddenly turns defensive or evasive, even though their words haven't changed. That's when you need to pay attention, not to what they're saying, but how they're saying it. A sudden drop in energy, a shift in pitch, or an awkward pause can be the subconscious signaling that the person is either hiding something or feeling uncomfortable about the truth. What's fascinating is that people lie not just to deceive others, but often to deceive themselves. When their tone shifts, it's not always because they're trying to manipulate you. Many times, it's because they're uncomfortable with the lie they're telling themselves. That discomfort seeps into their voice, unintentionally revealing the secret they didn't even realize they were hiding. Stoicism teaches us to observe without judgment, and this is a clear example of how you can harness the power of observation. By paying attention to the subtle changes in someone's tone, you gain a clearer understanding of their inner conflict. This is something we should also notice in ourselves. How many times have you said something you didn't fully believe, only to hear your voice waver? Your tone is like a mirror, reflecting your inner doubts. This is why Stoicism emphasizes the importance of aligning our thoughts, words, and actions. When they're not in harmony, it shows in ways you can't always control. So, the next time you're in a conversation and notice someone's tone shift, whether it's a drop in energy, a hesitant pause, or a change in pitch, don't overlook it. Ask yourself, what are they hiding? What are they uncomfortable with? It might not be a full-blown lie, but there's a good chance they're not telling you the whole truth. The voice is a clue, and if you listen closely, you'll catch it every time. The most honest moments often come when people think no one is watching. If you really want to know someone's true nature, observe them when they believe no one is paying attention. These are the moments when people drop the mask they wear for society, the persona they've created to fit in or get ahead, and reveal their true selves. This is a controversial idea because most of us like to think that who we are in public is the same as who we are in private. But the reality is that people often behave very differently when they believe they're not being observed. I remember working with a manager who was the perfect professional when the boss was around. She spoke softly, maintained her composure, and never raised her voice. But the moment the boss left the office, she became a completely different person, yelling at employees, making belittling remarks, and showing little respect for others. It was shocking and taught me a valuable lesson. Who people truly are often emerges when they don't think anyone important is watching. When people are in the spotlight, they become hyper-aware of how they're perceived. They behave in ways they think will earn approval or avoid conflict. But the moment they feel they're no longer being observed, the filters disappear. You see this in the small things: how they react when they think no one's watching, how they treat people who can offer them nothing, or how they behave when they believe they won't be held accountable. It's in these seemingly insignificant interactions that their true character is revealed. This applies to every aspect of life, from personal relationships to work, and even casual encounters. Take relationships, for example. In the early stages, both sides are often on their best behavior, trying to impress one another. But if you really want to know who someone is, observe them in those quiet moments when they're not trying to impress you. How do they treat the server when you go out to dinner? How do they handle stress? Or how do they act when they think you're not paying attention? Do they maintain kindness, patience, and respect? Or do they let their guard down and show a less flattering side? I've seen this play out in social gatherings as well. People can be the life of the party when all eyes are on them, but the way they treat others when they step out of the spotlight says far more about their character. Those who remain considerate and genuine, even when it doesn't benefit them, are the ones who truly embody integrity. On the other hand, those who drop the act when they think it's safe to do so are showing you a glimpse of who they really are. Stoicism teaches us the value of consistency, being the same person in private as we are in public. The challenge is to align our behavior, not just when we're being watched, but when we think no one is looking. And in others, this same consistency, or lack thereof, becomes one of the most telling signs of their true nature. So next time you're trying to understand someone, don't just focus on how they act when they're in the spotlight. Pay close attention to those in-between moments, those times when they believe the world isn't watching. That's when you'll see their true self. There are some people who always seem to be the life of the party, effortlessly telling jokes, drawing attention, and charming everyone around them. But when they think no one's paying attention, they can act indifferent, selfish, or even dismissive. Their true nature doesn't show up in the big, public moments. It emerges in the small, quiet ones. This is where the perspective of Stoicism becomes crucial. As a Stoic, you're trained to observe life objectively and without judgment. People tend to reveal who they really are when they believe they're off stage, and it's in these subtle moments that you can truly understand them. Stoicism teaches us that virtue isn't about how we behave when others are watching, but how we act when no one is. The person who remains kind, patient, and respectful, even when there's no applause or recognition, is the one truly living in alignment with Stoic values. However, the reality is that many people don't live this way. They divide their public self from their private self, acting in ways that serve their image when in the spotlight, while exposing less flattering traits when they think no one is watching. I once had a colleague who always appeared supportive and eager to help during group meetings, constantly offering positive words and being ready to assist others. But when it was just the two of us, he was entirely different, cold, uninterested, and only willing to help if there was a direct benefit to him. That's when I realized his true character wasn't what he presented in public, but what he revealed in private. The most honest moments aren't when someone is standing in the spotlight, but when they believe no one is watching. Whether it's through kindness or cruelty, these unguarded moments reveal the truth. And it's in those moments you gain a clearer understanding of who they really are. If someone can only do good when others are watching, that's not genuine kindness, it's just a performance. And this is one of the core lessons Stoicism imparts. Your true nature is who you are in the dark, not who you pretend to be in the light. As Stoicism teaches, we must strive to live in accordance with our values at all times, regardless of who is watching. Hollow actions lack consistency because they aren't driven by internal conviction, but by a desire for external approval. In contrast, authentic actions are always consistent because they come from within, rooted in core values, rather than the need for validation or praise. Observing others during their unguarded moments not only reveals their true nature, but also serves as a reminder of the importance of staying true to yourself, even when no one else is around. Next time you want to truly understand someone, don't focus on the grand gestures or the public persona they project in front of a crowd. Pay attention to what they do when the spotlight is off. It's in those moments, when they're not trying to impress, that their real self becomes visible. These quiet, often unnoticed actions speak louder than any words or performances ever could. People work hard to craft a perfect public image, but the truth is, the moments when no one is looking are the real test of character. If a person can show kindness, fairness, and respect to others, even when no one is around to witness it, that's sincerity. On the other hand, if good deeds only surface when there's an audience, that's not a true reflection of character, but merely an act. This doesn't just apply to how you observe others, but it's also a lesson for yourself. Don't fall into the trap of acting purely for the sake of external recognition or approval. Your motivation to live and act should come from within, driven by internal values and a commitment to honesty with yourself. Stoicism emphasizes that living in accordance with your values isn't about seeking praise, but about cultivating a meaningful, grounded life. When you maintain alignment between your words and actions, you not only respect yourself, but you also create a life filled with authenticity and purpose. Remember, those who live with integrity don't have to worry about maintaining an image because they have nothing to hide or adjust based on how others see them. Watching those small, unnoticed moments in someone's behavior helps you understand their true essence. It's in those moments, when they believe no one's watching and they aren't bound by social expectations, that the truth surfaces. That's when their real motives are revealed. People who are genuine will always act consistently, whether they are being observed or not. But those who only display goodness when they know they're being watched, that's a clear sign of inauthenticity. Living in alignment with your true self means holding on to your values and dignity in any situation, because that is the foundation of a life that is full and meaningful. Don't be fooled by grand gestures or flashy displays in front of others. It's when people stop trying to prove something, when they're not putting on a show, that you truly get a glimpse of who they really are. The essence of a person shines through in those unguarded moments, the natural actions that arise when they're not concerned with impressing anyone. These are the moments that reveal the soul, free from the masks we often wear in public. By focusing on these genuine actions, you not only gain deeper insights into their true character, but also strengthen your belief in the importance of living authentically yourself. In a world where appearances often take center stage, it's easy to get distracted by surface-level behavior. People can be very convincing when they want to, but the truth always lies beneath the surface. It's in the subtleties, the way someone treats others when no one important is watching, how they act in moments that seem insignificant to them, that you see their real values and intentions. Stoicism teaches us to observe without judgment and to pay attention to the consistency between a person's actions and their claimed beliefs. A virtuous person doesn't need the approval of others to act with integrity. Their actions are rooted in internal values, not external validation. This is why it's so essential to cultivate the habit of looking beyond the surface. When you stop being distracted by what's being performed for the public eye, you can focus on what truly matters, the small, authentic acts that define a person's character. This is also a powerful reminder for yourself. Living authentically means that your actions align with your principles, regardless of who is watching. It's about having the courage to be consistent, to live by values that you believe in, even when no one is around to praise you for it. When you understand this deeper layer of human behavior, it not only helps you see others more clearly, but it also reinforces why living true to yourself is so important. You stop needing external approval because you know that real fulfillment comes from within. By staying true to your values, you create a life that is genuine and meaningful, regardless of the opinions of others. Thank you for tuning in today. If you found this content helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. In the rush of life, anger often feels like an old friend, always ready to visit, showing up quickly and leaving us uneasy. But what if I told you that the key to changing this isn't about suppressing anger, but mastering the art of delay? Let's dive into an age-old truth. The best remedy for anger is delay. These words from the Roman philosopher Seneca, spoken nearly 2,000 years ago, still hold the power to transform how we live today. But before we explore how to apply this wisdom, we must ask ourselves why. Why should we care about controlling anger? Why not just let it run free? Uncontrolled anger is like a wildfire. It can burn through relationships, harm our health, and leave us with deep regrets that last for years. Yet, anger itself isn't the enemy. It's a natural emotion, often signaling that something we value is at risk. The real challenge lies in how we respond to it. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in. The Stoics, ancient Greek and Roman thinkers, taught that while we can't always control what happens to us, we have full control over how we react. In the space between stimulus and response lies our greatest strength. So, how do we create this pause, and what happens in those precious moments? Let's look at the stories of three different people: Sarah, Michael, and Alex. Each faces challenges that test their patience and ignite anger. Sarah is a high-level executive, juggling multiple responsibilities at once. Her day is packed with back-to-back meetings, urgent emails, and critical decisions. During one meeting, she feels frustration rising as a colleague presents a poorly prepared report. In that moment, Sarah feels her anger building. The old Sarah might have reacted harshly, criticizing the colleague in front of everyone. But now, Sarah has practiced the art of delay. As her anger flares, she remembers the words of Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In that pause, Sarah asks herself three key questions. What is within my control? How would my best self respond? Will this matter in a month? By creating this delay, Sarah gives herself the space to respond wisely, rather than react impulsively. She chooses to address the issue constructively, turning a potential conflict into an opportunity for growth. Next, we have Michael, a high school teacher facing a different set of challenges. Working with teenagers all day requires patience, understanding, and sometimes a thick skin. During one class, a student acts out, showing disrespect and disrupting the lesson. Michael feels his anger rising as the student's behavior threatens to derail the entire class. But Michael, too, has learned the power of delay. In that moment, he recalls Epictetus' teaching: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In that brief pause, Michael reflects on three things. The student's behavior isn't a personal attack. There may be underlying issues driving the behavior. How can I turn this into a teachable moment? Through delay, Michael transforms his anger into empathy, avoiding confrontation and turning it into a meaningful interaction. Finally, there's Alex, a stay-at-home parent managing the daily frustrations of raising children. Although not working in a traditional office, Alex faces countless situations that could spark anger and frustration. One day, Alex is at the supermarket when their child throws a tantrum. As the child acts out, Alex feels the familiar surge of anger and embarrassment. But Alex, too, has learned the art of delay. In that moment, Alex remembers Seneca's words: He who is not angry at evil does not have a virtuous soul, but he who remains calm in the face of anger is wise. In that fleeting pause, Alex reflects on three things. My child isn't trying to make my life difficult, they're having a difficult moment. How can I respond in a way that helps rather than escalates the situation? By delaying the initial reaction, Alex finds calm and responds with compassion instead of anger. In all three cases, the act of delaying anger allowed each person to tap into a deeper strength, one that led to wiser decisions, healthier relationships, and less regret. This isn't about suppressing emotion or pretending not to feel anger. It's about recognizing anger as a natural response and learning to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When we delay, we give ourselves the gift of choice, the ability to act from a place of wisdom rather than reflex. As we navigate our own daily challenges, we can apply this same principle. The next time anger flares up, take a breath, create a pause, and ask yourself, what is within my control? How would my best self handle this? And will this matter a month from now? In those moments of delay, we discover the true power to shape our lives. How do we address the underlying needs driving behavior? Everything passes. Through the act of delaying, Alex turns anger into understanding, responding to the child's needs rather than reacting to their behavior. Sarah, Michael, and Alex illustrate that the art of delay is not about suppressing anger, but about creating the space for wisdom to emerge. In that space, we can choose our response and align our actions with our values, rather than with fleeting emotions. But how do we cultivate the ability to delay anger? And what happens in the brain during that precious pause? As we delve deeper into the science of anger, the philosophy of Stoicism, and practical techniques for mastering this emotion, let's first explore what happens in the brain during those critical moments of delay. When anger flares up, the amygdala, our brain's emotional center, triggers a stress response, preparing the body for an instinctual fight-or-flight reaction. In ancient times, this quick response served as a survival mechanism. But in the modern world, reacting too quickly often causes more harm than good. This is where the power of delay shines through. By intentionally pausing, even for just a few seconds, we activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thought and decision-making. This simple act allows us to shift from an emotional reaction to a thoughtful response. How do we build the habit of delay? Like any skill, it requires practice and patience. Let's explore some practical techniques you can apply in your daily life. The first is the 5-5-5 rule. When you feel anger rising, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years? This mental exercise helps put the issue into perspective, often revealing that our anger is disproportionate to the severity of the problem. Next is box breathing. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4. Repeat this cycle 4 times. This technique, used by Navy SEALs, calms the nervous system and creates the crucial moment of delay. Another technique is the stoic pause. When facing a triggering situation, take a mental step back and observe it as an impartial outsider. Ask yourself, what would a wise person do in this situation? This creates emotional distance and allows for a more reasoned response. You can also practice reframing. During the delay, try to shift your perspective on the situation. Instead of viewing it as a threat or personal attack, can you see it as a challenge or an opportunity for growth? Lastly, there's the "is it true" technique. When angry thoughts arise, question them. Is this really true? Often our anger is based on assumptions or misunderstandings. This question helps us pause and reassess. Remember, the goal isn't to never feel anger. Anger is a natural emotion and can sometimes be useful. The objective is to create space between the stimulus and our response, a space where we can choose how to act. Let's revisit our 3 examples, Sarah, Michael, and Alex, and see how they've integrated these techniques into their lives. Sarah, an executive, has made the 555 rule an essential part of her mental toolkit. During a recent tense negotiation, she felt anger surge when a business partner made an offer she found insulting. But before reacting, she quickly asked herself the 3-5-5-5 questions. Although the offer frustrated her in the moment, she realized that in 5 months or 5 years, it wouldn't matter. This perspective shift allowed her to remain calm and continue the negotiation effectively, eventually reaching a mutually beneficial agreement. Michael, a high school teacher, has mastered box breathing. One day, a student was repeatedly disruptive, testing Michael's patience to the limit. As anger welled up, he excused himself and spent 64 seconds practicing 4 cycles of box breathing. The focus on his breath allowed him to return to the classroom with clarity and calm. He addressed the student's behavior firmly but with compassion, turning what could have been a heated confrontation into a valuable teaching moment. These techniques aren't about suppressing or ignoring anger, but about transforming it. By delaying our reaction, we give ourselves the opportunity to act in line with our values, maintain control over our emotions, and improve our relationships. Alex, a stay-at-home father, has mastered the stoic pause. On a particularly tough day when everything seemed to go wrong, his child spilled juice on the freshly cleaned floor. In the past, this might have been the tipping point, but Alex took a step back, mentally asking himself, what would a wise father do in this situation? This brief moment of reflection allowed him to see the event not as an intentional provocation, but as a natural part of a child's growth. Instead of scolding, he turned the cleanup into a game, teaching responsibility while maintaining a positive atmosphere. These real-world examples show that the art of delaying anger isn't just a philosophical concept, but a practical tool we can use every day. But what happens when anger feels too overwhelming, too justified to delay? This is when we need to dig deeper into the roots of our anger. Often it's not just the immediate trigger, but unmet needs or deeper fears driving our frustration. In that pause, ask yourself, what's really bothering me? Am I feeling disrespected, insecure, or powerless? Understanding the underlying cause allows us to address the real issue, rather than just reacting to surface-level frustrations. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "People are not disturbed by events, but by their opinions about them." This insight reminds us that anger often stems not from the situation itself, but from how we interpret it. By delaying our initial reaction, we give ourselves the chance to reassess our perspective and choose a more constructive view. Let's practice this now. Think about a recent situation that made you angry. Got it? Now, reverse engineer the art of delay. Take a deep breath and pause. As you mentally revisit the event, follow these steps. First, ask yourself, what in this situation triggered my anger? Then, consider if there's another way to interpret the issue without facing immediate anger. This shift in perspective can help reduce negative emotions. Third, reflect on which of your needs were unmet at that moment. Lastly, if you could go back, how would you respond differently? This exercise isn't about judging your initial reaction, but training your mind to create the necessary pause in future situations, allowing you to choose a more appropriate response. Now let's address a common misconception. Delaying anger does not mean becoming passive. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Mastering the art of delay allows us to address problems more effectively and express ourselves more powerfully. When we react with calm and clarity instead of rage, our words carry more weight, and our actions have greater impact. Consider the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. The closer a person is to calmness of mind, the closer they are to strength. This strength enables us to stand firm in our principles without being swayed by bursts of anger. It helps us say no with confidence and respect, set boundaries without burning bridges, and resolve conflicts constructively. Look at how our 3 friends, Sarah, Michael, and Alex, use this strength in their lives. Sarah recently dealt with a team member who consistently missed deadlines. In the past, her frustration might have led to harsh criticism, damaging their working relationship. But this time, Sarah used the pause technique to collect her thoughts. She then calmly had a focused conversation with the team member, explaining the consequences of the delays and working together to find a solution. Her calm strength turned a potentially destructive situation into a constructive dialogue, improving performance instead of causing defensiveness and resentment. Michael, a high school teacher, faced an angry parent upset about their child's grades. Rather than becoming defensive or responding with anger, Michael applied the "is it true" technique to question his own assumptions about the parent's intentions. This pause helped him stay open-minded and engage in a more thoughtful conversation, uncovering the parent's concerns and resolving the issue collaboratively. The examples of Sarah, Michael, and Alex show us that delaying anger is not about avoiding conflict or staying quiet. It's about creating space for wisdom and strength to guide our actions. By delaying, we align our responses with our values, fostering better relationships, clearer communication, and more effective problem-solving. The power of delay allows us to respond from a place of purpose, not from fleeting emotions. And that's a power worth cultivating every day. Michael realized that the parent's anger was likely driven by concern for their child's future. With this perspective in mind, he calmly explained the grading process and worked together with the parent to discuss strategies for the student's improvement. His calm and empathetic approach turned what could have been a heated confrontation into a productive collaboration focused on the child's progress. Meanwhile, Alex faced a different challenge with his neighbor, whose dog's constant barking was disturbing his child's sleep. Instead of confronting the neighbor out of frustration, Alex used a reframing technique, viewing the situation as an opportunity to foster a better relationship. After calming himself, he approached the neighbor, explained the issue gently, and suggested finding a solution together. This led to a friendly conversation where they discovered the dog's barking stemmed from separation anxiety. Working together, they came up with ideas to ease the dog's anxiety and restore peace in the neighborhood. In each of these situations, delaying their initial angry reactions allowed them to handle the problem more effectively. This is the true power of delay, not just in avoiding the negative consequences of anger, but in opening up possibilities for positive outcomes that anger would have closed off. However, there are times when anger rises too quickly, before we can even consider delaying it. This is where the practice of mindfulness comes in. Regular mindfulness practice can heighten emotional awareness, making it easier to recognize the early signs of anger before it takes over. Try a simple mindfulness exercise a few times throughout your day. Take a moment to check in with yourself. What emotions are you feeling right now? Where do you feel them in your body? Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? By regularly tuning into your emotional state, you become more skilled at noticing the early warning signs of anger, giving you more opportunities to apply the art of delay. Remember, mastering the art of delaying anger is a journey, not a destination. There will be moments when you succeed in pausing before reacting, and other times when anger gets the best of you. The key is to approach this practice with self-compassion. As Epictetus said, we should not be angry at ourselves for our failures, but rather continue to educate ourselves without resentment. Each time you succeed in delaying your anger, no matter how small the victory, celebrate it. When you react in anger, view it as a learning opportunity. Reflect on what triggered your anger, how it felt in your body, and what you could do differently next time. As we near the end of this journey, let's summarize the key points of mastering the art of delaying anger. First, anger is not the enemy. It is a natural emotion that can signal important underlying issues. Second, the power lies in the pause between stimulus and response. That moment of delay gives us a chance to shift from an emotional reaction to a rational response. Techniques like the 5-5-5 rule, box breathing, and the stoic pause can help us create this crucial delay. Delaying anger is not about suppressing emotion, but choosing to respond wisely. Regular mindfulness practice sharpens our awareness of anger's early signs, giving us more chances to pause before acting. Mastering the art of delay is an ongoing process that requires patience and self-compassion. View each encounter with anger as an opportunity to practice and grow. Start small. Even pausing for just a few seconds can make a significant difference. Over time, these brief pauses will lengthen, giving you more space to choose a thoughtful, measured response. Remember Seneca's words that we began with: the best remedy for anger is delay. Within that simple statement lies a profound truth. We all have the power to change our relationship with anger. By mastering the art of delay, we not only avoid the destructive consequences of unchecked anger, but we also open ourselves up to more compassionate, constructive, and effective ways of engaging with the world. The next time you feel anger rising, take a deep breath and create a small space between the stimulus and your reaction. In that space, you will find the power to choose your response, to understand rather than judge, and to transform rather than destroy. This is the true power of delay, and it's a power that lies within each of us. As you leave this video, I invite you to carry these techniques and strategies with you, along with a new perspective on anger. See it not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a messenger to be listened to after a moment of reflection. By doing so, you may find that anger no longer becomes a source of regret and destruction in your life, but a catalyst for growth, understanding, and positive change. The journey to mastering anger through delay is a lifelong one, but it's a journey that brings greater peace, stronger relationships, and deeper self-awareness. Take that first step, create your first pause, and discover the strength and wisdom that lies within. As we move into the final chapter of our exploration of the art of delaying anger, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've explored the neurological mechanisms behind anger, discovered practical techniques to create delay, and seen how this approach can transform our daily interactions. Now, let's dive deeper into how we can integrate this practice into everyday life. Daily self-reflection is one of the most powerful ways to reinforce the habit of delay. The Stoics practiced an exercise known as the evening review. At the end of each day, they would reflect on their actions, particularly how they handled challenging situations. We can adapt this exercise to focus on controlling anger. Every evening, ask yourself these questions. When did I feel anger today? Did I manage to delay before reacting? If so, what was the result? If not, how might things have been different if I had delayed? What can I learn from this to apply tomorrow? This simple exercise reinforces the importance of delay and trains your mind to become more aware of situations that trigger anger. Over time, you will be able to create that crucial pause in the heat of the moment. But what about when anger feels justified, when we are faced with real injustice? This is where the Stoic concept of righteous anger comes into play. The Stoics believed that there is room for anger when it is controlled, proportional, and directed toward addressing an injustice. However, even in these cases, delay is critical. Seneca wrote, "Anger, even when justified, should never be displayed in private. Wait for a witness before expressing it." This delay serves multiple purposes. It allows us to ensure that the anger is justified, form a more effective response, and express our concerns in a way that is more likely to lead to positive change. Consider great leaders who knew how to transform anger into a force for social justice, like Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela. Their anger at systemic injustice wasn't suppressed, but was channeled through patience and wisdom into powerful, non-violent actions. They exemplified how delay can turn anger from a destructive force into a catalyst for positive change. As we practice the art of delay, our relationship with anger begins to shift. Instead of seeing it as an overwhelming force, we start to recognize anger as valuable information, a signal that something in our environment needs our attention. This shift in perspective aligns with the Stoic principle of assent, the idea that we can re-examine our initial impressions and decide whether or not to accept them as true. When we feel the first signs of anger, we can pause and ask ourselves, is this anger serving me? Is it proportionate to the situation? Is there a more constructive way to address this? By consistently applying this practice, we cultivate what the Stoics called sophrosine, a state of mental clarity characterized by moderation, self-control, and harmony. This practice trains us to respond to life's challenges with measured, thoughtful action rather than impulsive reactions, ultimately leading to more meaningful outcomes in our interactions and personal growth. In the end, delaying anger is not about suppressing our emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about creating the space to respond with wisdom, to allow understanding to take the place of judgment, and to turn moments of frustration into opportunities for growth. Each pause, no matter how brief, becomes a chance to shape a better outcome for ourselves and those around us. And in that small, intentional space between what happens to us and how we choose to respond lies one of the greatest strengths we can cultivate. This doesn't mean we'll never feel anger again, but rather that we develop the wisdom to recognize when anger is appropriate and the self-control to express it constructively. As we near the end of this journey, let's revisit our friends, Sarah, Michael, and Alex. Sarah found that practicing delay not only improved her professional life, but also deepened her personal relationships. By pausing before reacting to her partner's sometimes thoughtless comments, she could engage in more meaningful conversations about her needs and feelings, strengthening their bond and increasing mutual understanding. Michael, the high school teacher, began teaching his students about the art of delay, introducing mindfulness exercises into the classroom. He noticed a marked improvement in student behavior and even received thanks from parents who reported that these techniques were helping at home. Alex discovered that mastering delay increased his overall satisfaction in life. Instead of reacting angrily to everyday irritations, he responded thoughtfully, which brought him more joy in parenting and left him with more energy for his personal interests. These stories remind us that the art of delaying anger doesn't just help us avoid negative outcomes, it opens up space for richer, more fulfilling experiences in every area of life. As we conclude this journey, remember that mastering the art of delay is not about reaching perfection. There will still be moments when anger takes over, when we react before we can pause. What's important is to approach this practice with patience and self-compassion. Every moment of anger is an opportunity to practice, learn, and grow. As Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." By striving to respond with wisdom rather than rage, we place ourselves on a path of continuous growth and self-improvement. So as you move forward, I invite you to make a commitment to yourself, to create that small space between stimulus and response, that vital moment of delay. Start small. Even delaying by just a few seconds can make a significant difference. Over time, as you practice and refine your ability to pause, these small delays will lengthen, giving you more room to choose your response wisely. Remember, the power to change your relationship with anger lies within you, in that space between stimulus and response. In that moment of delay, you will find the freedom to choose how to act instead of reacting impulsively, to understand instead of judge, and to grow instead of destroy. As you move through your day, carry with you the wisdom of the Stoics and the insights we've explored together. You may find newfound strength in how you face anger. Discover that the power of delay is not just a technique, but a way of living. May this practice bring you greater peace, stronger relationships, and a deeper understanding of yourself and those around you. Thank you for joining me in exploring the art of delaying anger. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Now move forward and use the power of delay with wisdom and grace. Thank you for watching. If you found this content helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. I'll see you in the next video.